Split my audience.
Integrate the chats.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
Hmm?
Besides, no, they can't respond to each other efficiently if they're in different chats. Because they're seeing two different chat windows. Like, it'll be the same on the screen.
You see,
but
they
they'll have
say
a hell of a
that.
time.
They say that, but my chat does just fine. I'm on
There's
3 platforms right now.
There's
What else
like
are you on?
the things.
I'm
Yeah.
on Kick and YouTube and Twitch.
And how many do you have? What kind of audience do you have on each platform? Like what right now?
I just started streaming on Kick and YouTube, so they're not huge. I have like 15 people on Kick.
Okay.
YouTube, I have probably, I don't know, shout yourself out on YouTube. I don't have the stats up.
Like
But,
100?
No, not 100. No,
Hey, Tipster.
my YouTube is tiny.
How
Hello,
about Twitch? Like 100?
YouTubes.
Oh, Twitch, I have like 86.
86? Okay, so picture this, right? Imagine how much more boosted in the algorithm your stream would be on one of these platforms if you had like all of them together and you had like 150 viewers as opposed to 86 on the high end on one.
Twitch's algorithm doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's
sadly
not.
enough.
It sucks. So.
Oh, well,
And I do like the different vibes on my different things, but I think if I was starting out, I would definitely be doing like multiple
I'll
ones.
tell you exactly like the main reason I don't do on Twitch. And that's that the way Twitch is kind of set up is you're expected to do more sort of super long form with long lulls as opposed to super intense but shorter. So I typically aim for 4 hours on the high end, but I talk for like the entire thing with very few breaks. Whereas like Chud Logic, for example, will stream for like 8 to 9 hours on Twitch, but there will be long sequences where he's just kind of like looking around, chilling.
Yeah.
And it's more about an ambience.
Maybe, but I think that you can translate the quick high pace onto Twitch as well. Soon I'm going to be on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Rumble, and then at some point TikTok. But you need 1,000 followers on TikTok to do that.
You need special equipment to dual stream onto multiple or to multi-stream onto multiple platforms at once, right? That's not a thing you can.
No, just a plugin. You just need a plugin. You need the multi RTMP plugin.
Really?
Yeah, and then the ADAM virtual plugin that makes like a vertical version of your scenes, or you can design a vertical version of your scenes, match them with your scenes so that like if you change scenes, they correspond with each other. And then you can stream to vertical platforms from there. So
you're talking for TikTok, but I'm talking for like Kick and Twitch.
Well, that's what the ADAM plugin is for. The multi RTMP lets you stream to as many outputs as you want to, for free, by the way.
Okay.
Wait,
well,
what?
I'll think about that.
Wait, what does? Which thing?
Multi RTMP plugin on OBS.
Oh, I don't know what that is. Okay. There has to be a better way to switch from. Okay, I'm here now, but there has to be a fucking better way. I can't log into both things at the same time. It's very stupid.
Wait, for switching from Twitch to YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, hit me up. Like it's way easier than.
I'm gonna walk around for a couple seconds so I don't die. Keep talking.
Okay,
Sure.
cool.
There's also the chat that I have can integrate any platform.
Wait, which chat do you have? Is it the one that you said?
The chat that I have is it's like an open source chat.
Mm-hmm.
That basically you just like have all the pop-out chats open in one view, and then it'll just pull all of those chats and put them into one combined chat that you have for stream.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you have that and the multi RTMP plugin, you can stream to any platform, as many platforms as you want, and have all of the chats all in one place with all the emotes, all the badges, everything.
Really? Very pog. Wait,
Yep.
Is it also a thing other people see in their own chat, or is it like just on the screen?
What?
Like okay.
It doesn't like put YouTube chat into Twitch chat, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, because some
No,
of
it can't do
them
that,
have like, what is it? Restream or something?
Restream will do that thing where they like paste the chats into the other chat. I don't like that. It's kind of gross.
Tipster wants to know what that chat's called.
The chat is called Social Stream.
Oh, you know what?
Socialstream.ninja.
One time, RTBA came into my chat and gave me that, but I forget how that works. So
Yeah, I can help you if you want.
very pog. Yeah, that would be very cool.
I'm sorry. Origin of language in my chat has been soying out for.
Oh my
fucking
god.
Oh, this
45
guy.
fucking
Oh my
minutes.
god.
I
You have
pulled-
no
Why are you
idea.
guys talking about this? Why aren't you reading fucking this or that? It's like,
Oh
dude,
my god.
shut the fuck up.
Buddy, you have no idea. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Present
It's like,
Sunday is
bro,
the one
go
that
read
got
a
me to.
book. Why are you on Twitch? Go read a book.
Yeah.
So okay, so Origin of Language is an ex-patron of mine. He's a very strange fellow
Very mad.
who has dedicated his life to going from drama channel to drama channel, which he is acutely aware of, the existence of which he's acutely aware of. To say, why on earth are you drama streamers talking about drama and not reading Cormac McCarthy? And he will stay in these servers for days and days and days, just interacting with people, just fighting with them, to read Cormac McCarthy, to engage in the life of the mind or something.
Bro, this is my job, dude. What do you think?
Well, what's a little bit confusing is like, if you're so above drama, how did you find yourself here, and why are you staying here? Because
Yeah.
I don't see him leaving my chat and going to like.
You know what it is? It's because we're traders. Because it's not just drama streamers. He'll go into streamers chats where the streamers like know philosophy, and then he'll be like, "You're a trader. You should be talking about philosophy because
True.
you know that."
Actually,
Okay,
true. Yeah.
Well, then, if that is true, Origin, and
By the way,
you know
chat.
you're Plato, then you know that the role of the philosopher is
Yes,
actually go
hipster.
back down into the cave and to take part in the honors of the people who are chained up in order to lift them out, which is what Aiko's doing, of course, which is why she's so confused about time, because she's just in another universe she's a higher level of reality than us.
I don't know.
She sees
Well,
all things at
technically
all times at
high.
once.
Probably technically high. I am
There you
stoned
go.
now. I wasn't before, but now I am. Oh, also, I should probably tell YouTube what we're doing. Can someone TLDR, but kid, can you TLDR what we've been doing /R?
Sure, yeah. Tom Foolery wrote a document about how people perceive gender, and he is giving us a clear, articulate,
Irrefutable.
foolproof analysis of how gender is exists in the social realm, be its relation to biology and be its relationship to the social field. We are learning all about how Hulk Hogan, no matter how hard he tries,
We'll
will
never.
never be a woman.
Actually, we don't
I'm
know
being
that.
bad
We have
faith,
to
okay? I'm
ask.
being a little
We
bit
have
bad
to
faith.
ask.
He has to try a little.
I need to answer a super chat quickly. Thank you, Rick Sly, for the $2. You're still going PS Power Mode. I wish that was Power Mode. Actually, what it is I fucked up the schedule and I started like 3 hours early, so we did the Illuminati thing first, and I'm dying right now. Why on earth are we lollygagging? We have one more
Wait,
goddamn
I
page
have-
to do.
Wait,
Literally one page.
I have to
It's
pee.
literally one
No,
page.
I have
no,
to
don't
pee
hold it.
so
hold
bad,
it. We need to finish. No.
but
Yes, go.
it'll also. Oh wait, shit. It'll
You can catch
also. It'll help. The YouTube people that don't watch Twitch know what the fuck is going on.
Forget
make sure
them.
you're
They're
on.
weak.
Make
I
sure
gave
you're
it
on
till they are.
live
If they
chat.
missed it, then they're fucking low IQ. Okay, we got to keep moving.
Okay. Make sure you're on live chat.
Okay.
Everyone. Okay.
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 Okay, look at Mike Wazowski. Okay, you guys see Mike Wazowski?
Who is that?
Mike Wazowski. It's. I'll
don't know
start
who
from
that
here.
is.
It's still a safe assumption to believe that a feminine person has a vagina, but isn't a necessary component to use the word woman. Just as if I said the word human and you would picture a human-like person, you may define human as a living organism with human DNA, which may come with assumptions that this human has a red heart beating in their chest. But what if I showed you this picture?
Is this a person? Is this a real
Have you
thing?
not seen Monsters Inc?
No,
Are you
I
for real?
haven't.
Are you for real?
Yes, I'm for real.
Okay, I can't do anything with you.
I'm too old, probably.
What if someone showed you this picture and then said that this person has human DNA? You would feel we've lost all meaning of the word, even though it fits your definition. Or if I showed you a human that meets the visual concept, but then told you that they have a green heart beating in their chest,
But
your
that's not.
assumption would be incorrect. But you would likely still call them a human because they look human. Just as you may assume a parent is a child's biological father, but you wouldn't stop calling them a father if you found out that the child was adopted.
What if a person had their face bombed off by a landmine or something like that, and they were like they had a face that was equally unusual as Mike Wazowski's? There are some
would say
cases
that
of this
they
you can
were a
see on YouTube. They have like there's this one guy who has like basically nothing of his face left, and you can see like the before images before he had like surgery that sort of like gave him like something of a face, and it's actually really difficult to look at. Like, would you therefore say that he's not a human because he looks like something else with that, or like what would be sort of difficult to associate with immediately because it's not a configuration that
well, I think in that case it would be like static to like the idea that this person had a human identity at one point, right? Or like even if you took away all components and all you had is like a brain inside of a fucking in like a vat that was able to talk, you would say that this is still a person because they were like relate back to that historic identity of themselves, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Or would you say
yeah.
that this is just a brain? This is not a person.
Well, the reason why
This is not a living thing.
Well, transfer this over to gender. Like, let's say you have somebody who identifies later in life as a woman, and probably would have earlier in life if they were aware that being trans was an active possibility, but they still experienced dysphoria and all things associated with that, but they lacked the vocabulary to figure out what it was that they were and how to act on that. You would have a somewhat similar situation in which you would have an exteriority that in some respect does not actually reflect that history, but is also in some sense, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm tired. We're moving on to like 9 hours. We gotta continue.
Yeah.
These assumptions can come with the concept or social role without making or breaking the idea altogether. Just as we can assume a feminine person has a vagina without saying sex and gender are the same thing, because sex usually aligns with gender. That pattern can't be discarded, but it also does not make them the same thing. You want this one for Sunday?
Sure. And last of all are pronouns. Do pronouns align with sex or gender? It seems the arguments I've made above for gendered labels would apply to pronouns. If using a pronoun doesn't communicate something that gives us utility, then why use them at all? If we cannot see the sex of the person in by far most scenarios, then we won't know what pronouns to use most of the time. One would only use her to communicate what others would assume it communicates. If a female has dressed in masculine clothes and put facial hair on her face, it's an interesting choice of words there, and now looks like a man, one would only confuse others to keep saying her, just as they wouldn't know who I'm talking about if I call this person a woman instead of a man. The words only give us utility, as words may be impressive to others, but isn't very helpful if I always have to stop and explain their meanings. If I keep calling a masculine person she or a woman, I will have to keep stopping and explaining why. If I use he or man, I will never have to explain why, because it is normal to communicate masculinity with those words. I think the assumption that words are only useful if you never have to explain them is a little bit strange.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. None of these concepts have rigid rules, and there will always be things that can be argued, but the utility is obvious. Fuck. Words don't have objective meanings. Dictionaries will tell you that they get their definitions based on the colloquial understanding and usage. That is how words have always gotten definitions and how language is created. Etymology only tells us how we got to a current definition, but cannot tell us what a word is meant to be defined as. If you believe words should always stay the same, you must not speak English. English is an assortment of other languages, and the words were stolen from other languages or created on the spot. The word cool hasn't always meant good, but it does today. Why? Because people started using it in that way, and because that's what others understood it to mean. That's all it takes to get a meaning from a word. Can you be wrong about whether or not one is a man or a woman? Could it be the case that the man actually means one with a penis and that we are wrong if we call one without a penis a man? If I call a car a bluff and everyone understands that when I say bluff, I mean car, then that is what bluff communicates and therefore means. If I say car to mean tree and everyone understands it to mean tree, then that is the meaning of that word. I am not using these words incorrectly, and I'm not wrong if what I'm communicating is understood. Words change and evolve over time. Language will never be stagnant. English speakers from 200 years ago would say that we are all wrong in the way that we use and perceive language. As a throwback, I think this is like the first time we're actually explicitly talking about linguistics in any sense. But the intro of this essay said that it was entirely about linguistics.
Let's see here. I work in linguistic marketing, but I'm not a linguist. I mean, he starts by explaining his reasoning why he's making the document as being his background in linguistics. How it aligns with the realities of language and biology, and there are a few common arguments I see on both sides of this debate. So I mean, it's not necessarily about linguistics, but like he sort of indicates that it's going to sort of heavily involve linguistics, which I guess depending on like the weight you want to put on this particular section is true.
Okay, I'm busting through the last. There's like
Yes,
go,
can
go
we
for it,
one
please.
small portion left.
bust?
Again, I'm not making prescriptions as to how one should use these words. I'm explaining the concept of gender through a pragmatic lens. I'm not saying whether or not you ought to use one's preferred pronouns or who you should call a woman or a man. I'm explaining our current understanding, how this understanding aligns with reality, and the descriptive issues with the ways others want to change the language. I am also not denying in certain contexts words like woman will be adult human female, but it seems that usage of the word is the minority of the seems that usage of the word is the minority.
No, that's the majority of the time. Adult human female is the majority understanding of woman. That's why we had to invent like new terms to refer to women who were not adult human females. That's why we had to differentiate them.
Yeah, I don't understand because like yes, like he made an outline of how like we have these social symbols which relate to femininity, and that you're not going to be like checking for people's genitals when you're like referring to their gender, but like
For now,
the symbols that we're referring to are still like coming from and understood as coming from sex.
Yeah, when he says girl,
how attached it is, but
yeah. So when he says girl by these last two paragraphs, he literally means you there, minor with a vagina. That's literally what he's saying.
that is what he said before.
Okay. Gender has always been a binary in almost all cultures and has stayed the same through human history with small changes here and there. If we change these words to mean other things, we will invent new words to describe our current understandings of gender because the patterns do exist and will be observed and therefore will need labels to communicate them. No want or need will ever change that.
Hold on a second. You cannot
Wait.
you cannot write the last 10 pages and then cite the second sex and gender trouble. That is not allowed. No, Tom.
Gotcha. Wait,
what?
It's like don't even worry, dude. I already read these books. Okay. I know that you were going to say that I am misrepresenting or misunderstanding these concepts, but look, they're cited. I understand. Okay.
So in the bottom of the article, Aiko, he has a bibliography, and the first two things he mentions are The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir and Gender Trouble by Judith Butler. There's Tom, I'm sorry, there's no way in hell you've read these if this is the article you wrote. It's impossible. It's actually impossible. That's like
Wait, hold on. Just to FYI, for people on YouTube, we're reading Tom Foolery's doc that he wrote about gender, and we've done that for the past 3.5 hours, but he's banned on Twitch, so I came over to YouTube. If you are confused, I will upload the video to YouTube, and you can figure out later. Okay, the end.
If you prefer Twitch, I'm not moving, so my channel is Kid Not Kid on Twitch.
Yeah, go to Twitch.
Tom,
if you
DM
don't
me
like
on
YouTube.
DM me on Discord, Tom, and we'll set this up. Okay, you can come onto my channel.
Is he in your chat?
Actually, I don't know if he's in my chat, but I'm in a server, so I can probably just ask him here.
Who's been talking to Tom? Who's been organizing Tom?
He just said hit him up on Discord.
Okay, do that.
You still want
I'm
to
gonna
come
pee.
on?
Did I not go pee? Or did I pee?
Well,
when I said it?
let's take 5 minutes. Let's take 5 minutes to walk around so we don't die. Grab water and coffee or whatever, because we've been going for a while. Then we'll bring Tom on, because we have no idea how long that's going to go. So let's do that. We'll come back in 5, and we'll bring Tom. Sound good?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Okay, I didn't pee at Jesus. All right.
All right, I'm gonna be right back too. I'm gonna play the monkey song.
Oh, everyone follow Kid. Hello? Hello? Kid, can you hear me? Is he muted? Oh, I thought he was talking. Oh, yes. Next. Okay, he's talking to chat. Sorry I left you in silence. He did bully me out of peeing. What if... What? What was I saying? Oh. On Sunday. Sunday will be the next installment of the Tom... not Tom. Edwin. I'm not gonna be mean to Tom. It's just gonna be nice for someone else to deal with his, you know, his logic. I think it's gonna be really entertaining. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Fuck. I had the wrong weed. I need to have a different weed. But yeah, Edwin is still continuing on. There's a lot of shit and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I realize at some point, it's gonna be so bad that like I might not be able to stop even if he does, like, because the thing has been, I've been like, hey, if Edwin says I was wrong and stops harassing Babs and like doesn't make videos about her, then I would stop with him. But now it's like it's getting beyond that, and it's wild. It is fucked up. So anyway, okay, continuing. I'll unmute myself. So yeah. So just be warned. Okay, Tom and I thought he was my friend. I don't think he thought that he was really my friend.
All right. Let's
so we read the
Tom.
gender doc and
Do I already have? Oh, he's already.
Let me see what they're saying.
That's good.
and we're gonna talk to him about it. Oh, I'll link it.
So add friends. We want Tom Flory.
I just brought my
There we go.
my friends with
So Tom
actual
should be able to
takes.
join the chat now.
Whoa.
Let me. We'll lose the PDF.
The PDF
We will-
file.
You can't say that, Aiko.
What?
You're gonna get Kidnotkin banned.
No, that's okay. I forget what it was. Okay, when Tom went into someone else's chat, it looked like he was supporting child porn, but he wasn't. He was just continuing on, and then he got banned.
I'm sorry.
that was
I'll be
it.
right back.
Tom needs to go throw up after that, or Kidnotkin does.
After
Hey Tom, how you doing?
the doc. Oh no. Hey Tom.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Where? How's it going, guys?
It's going swell. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Sound? Is it going swell? A kid has to go throw up. Was it that bad?
No, I was making a joke about Aiko.
Okay.
Wait, what? What about me?
Oh.
What was it? The girl
Okay.
little girl vaginas or something? That was funny. That was a funny line. I appreciated it.
We'll wait for a kid to come back first. Mostly because I've been going for like 8 hours and 45 minutes, and I'm so done.
You don't have anything to say about like
Well,
Illuminati?
I want to wait till about Illuminati.
How was that for you?
That was hell. That was one of the
Yeah.
most like physically distressing things to watch ever. She's pure evil. Like, dear God.
Creep show art, basically. Tom, any thoughts on Illuminati?
I don't know anything about the Illuminati, or is it? It's a person.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a person.
the pyramid
sorry, I
head
don't know.
lady talks about MLMs. She has so much lore. But yeah, she's a terrible person. The end.
Maybe
for
I'll
now.
have to look into that.
Yes, there are a lot of levels. Okay, back to
All right. We ready to roll?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So I guess I have a question sort of right off the bat. I know you give kind of an explanation of why you wanted to write this in the first place at the beginning. Namely, you have like some level of competency with respect to sort of like rhetoric and linguistics and things like that, specifically in kind of a marketing area. You talk about you spent some time studying the topic of gender. You have a bibliography here with some like really interesting stuff. What though, to your mind, what is the overall purpose of this article by itself? Because obviously, like, I can understand, like, from your perspective as somebody who's like engaged in marketing and has an interest in rhetoric and whatnot, why you would want to try and purpose those towards this particular topic. But the document as is, what's kind of what are you sort of aiming at? Is this like are you kind of working out a problem as you go, or is this a general statement of where you concluded?
Yeah, it's so initially I'm not like an online person. I never have been. I got online like 3 years ago, like started streaming and stuff, and like, you know, that was like the first time I'd ever heard of something like Gamergate or anything like that. And getting into this space about 2.5 years ago, talking to people like Vosh, Vivian Wolf, and then like tons of far leftists. Every time I talk to a different person about gender, because I was meeting trans people for the first time. I was meeting, non-binary people and all sorts of different people. And so I was really interested in like the idea of gender. I grew up in a Christian nationalist, like paleocon sort of household. And so this was all like very strange and interesting to me. And so the more I talked to people about gender, the more confused I was, and the more confused I felt like everybody else was. And so I found it incredibly interesting and wanted to, for my own sake, learn as much about it as I could, and wanted to kind of like document like the conclusion that I was coming to as I was going through this, to kind of put it all into like an idea somewhere.
Okay, so just in sum then, this introduction isn't necessarily like the introduction to a concluded piece of work. This is sort of just like a general statement of intent. You're interested in sort of employing the skill set that you developed in like your work in marketing or whatever, to interrogating these concepts, and this is sort of how you're doing so here. These are not your definitive statements on the topic. This is just kind of where you're at now, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's meant to be like a living document. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I feel like that could have been a little bit more explicit. I wasn't sure what it was meant for, I guess. I couldn't tell which things were your takes and which things you thought were like just general I don't want to say truth, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, what is like your thought on what is versus what it ought to be?
Yeah, I tried to steer away from what ought to be, but I think there's parts of it later on where I do a poor job of that, because I'm using like prescriptive language where I don't mean to. It's meant to say like the conclusion I think people ought to come to based on certain information. But instead I don't mean for it ever to be like a moral prescription in any way. And I think that I do a poor job at that.
I don't think
I
that
mean, just
I
like
thought
in terms of like as like a philosophical or a scientific or an anthropological document, you don't intend to like be putting this forward as like a statement from your position as somebody who's competent in linguistics or whatever on what you have determined gender to be in an authoritative sense. This is just literally like, these are your notes. This is like you're working through stuff, you're figuring stuff out. This is sort of where you're landing right now.
Somewhat, it's meant to be like, it's meant to be almost like a persuasive essay.
See, that's the opposite of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be like kind of a persuasive essay. So I want to be able to explain what I think gender is, not what it ought to be, and go ahead and address any arguments that I've heard about gender, so that nobody thinks like, oh, well, here's this entire section that he just never even thought of, or he's totally missing, and so like he doesn't even address this. So I wanted to make sure like I kind of address each and every argument that I could possibly think of, so that there's some sort of explanation in there for it. So in that sense, like it's meant to be like a persuasive essay, not actually to like convince people of it, but to make it to where
Make a
my
case.
idea is coherent. To make a case for a coherent idea. Yeah.
When you cite at the bottom, I'm actually not sure if this is a citation or what, but at the bottom you put The Second Sex book by Simone de Beauvoir and Gender Trouble book by Judith Butler. Are these informing any of the text, or are these things that you haven't read yet and you're looking to read in future kind of thing, or what am I supposed to take in the presence of these titles here?
So I just finished Gender Troubles a couple months ago, and I'm in the middle of second sex. And so these are just like, I kind of just listed off just like a ton of books that I've read that have helped inform my ideas, or like, yeah,
It's like a list
Just
of
the-
influences.
yeah, just
Not
yeah, so a list of
necessarily a citation.
influences. Yeah.
So, I guess I have the immediate question then. If you've read Gender Trouble, and this is something I'm having a little bit of difficulty sort of reconciling with the text itself, there are major passages, literally right in the beginning of the book, that I don't see really being engaged with in the article, that sort of directly contradict in a very, I think, persuasive and well-structured and efficient way a lot of the theses of the article itself. So, for example, do you have like a physical copy, or are you using like an e-copy?
Audiobook.
All right, see, that's your problem. Good luck with
Yeah.
Judith Butler as an audiobook.
Yeah.
It's really hard to listen to
Yeah,
because I have to rewind it often.
you would. I would. Okay, so if that being the case, I would strongly recommend go back to chapter 1 and go to section 2, the compulsory order of sex/gender/desire. It's literally a page and a half, actually about 2 pages long, and it's directly like contradicts in a very compelling way that I think you need to engage with, more or less your entire framing here in a really strong way. I can read it out for you if you like, and you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that? I don't want to be super boring to everyone's audiences. Are you fine with that?
How long is it?
It's literally 2 pages, but I can do it fairly efficiently.
Real-
I can actually just
Real quick. Real
quick. All right. This is from Judith Butler's The Gender Trouble, section 2 of part 1, the compulsory order of sex/gender/desire. Although the unproblematic unity of quote-unquote women is often invoked to construct a solidarity of identity, a split is introduced in the feminist subject by the distinction between sex and gender. Originally intended to dispute the biology is destiny formulation, the distinction between sex and gender serves the argument that whatever biological intractability sex appears to have, gender is culturally constructed. Hence, gender is neither the causal result of sex, nor as seemingly fixed as sex. The unity of the subject is thus already potentially contested by the distinction that permits of gender as a multiple interpretation of sex. If gender is the cultural meanings that the sexed body assumes, then a gender cannot be said to follow from a sex in any one way. Taken to its logical limit, the sex-gender distinction suggests a radical discontinuity between sexed bodies and culturally constructed genders. Assuming for the moment the stability of binary sex, it does not follow that the construction of quote-unquote men will accrue exclusively to the bodies of males, or that quote-unquote women will interpret only female bodies. Further, even if the sexes appear to be unproblematically binary in their morphology and constitution, which will become a question, there is no reason to assume that genders ought also to remain as two. The presumption of a binary gender system implicitly retains the belief in a mimetic relation of gender to sex, that's like a mirrored relation, of gender to sex, whereby gender mirrors sex or is otherwise restricted by it. When the constructed status of gender is theorized as radically independent of sex, gender itself becomes a free-floating artifice, with the consequence that man and masculine might just as easily signify a female body as a male one, and woman and feminine a male body as easily as a female one. This radical splitting, I'm almost done. This radical splitting of the gendered subject poses yet another set of problems. Can we refer to a quote-unquote given sex or a given gender without first inquiring into how sex and or gender is given through what means? And what is sex anyway? Is it natural, anatomical, chromosomal, or hormonal? And how is a feminist critic to assess the scientific discourses which purport to establish such quote-unquote facts for us? Does sex have a history? Does each sex have a different history or histories? You can mean this both socially and biologically as well, because we're, of course, as evolved species, historical. Is there a history of how the duality of sex was established, a genealogy that might expose the binary options as a variable construction? Are the ostensibly natural facts of sex discursively produced by various scientific discourses in the service of other political and social interests? If the immutable character of sex is contested, perhaps this construct called sex is as culturally constructed as gender. Indeed, perhaps it was always already gender, with the consequence that the distinction between sex and gender turns out to be no distinction at all. Last paragraph. It would make no sense then to define gender as the cultural interpretation of sex if sex itself is a gendered category. Gender ought not to be conceived merely as the cultural inscription of meaning on a pre-given sex, a juridical conception. Gender must also designate the very apparatus of production whereby the sexes themselves are established. As a result, gender is not to culture as sex is to nature. Gender is also the discursive/cultural means by which sex to nature, quote unquote, or a natural sex, quote unquote, is produced and established as prediscursive, prior to culture, a politically neutral surface on which culture acts. It's sort of like just kind of a naively given fact you just take on as just sort of a given. This construction of sex is the radically unconstructed. Oh, sorry. She's going on to talk about her other theses there.
I don't know
But
if
you see,
anyone processed any of that. Were you following that, Tom? I
okay. Well,
lost.
here's the problem.
Just say in plain
There's-
language, please, please, please. I love you so much, please.
You okay? You just want me to on the fly just put an entire paragraph by Judith Butler in place? Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
the concept.
From what I understand, she's saying that we're already categorizing sex into a binary unnecessarily, and that it wouldn't necessarily that we are just now choosing to categorize gender then in a binary according to that sex, when if we did otherwise, we would be like where she says it, like gender would be free flowing instead, and kind of or a lot more malleable.
Well, no. The point is, if it is not actually the case that when you assign X, Y, and Z traits to the category woman, that this actually encompasses all the people who identify as women, which, by the way, would prevail even if we limited women to just people who had vaginas, because of course there are women who want to join the military, there are women who want to stay at home, there are women who are artists, there are women who are mechanics, etc., and so forth. There are also, incidentally, women who are not trans women without vaginas or ovaries or things like that. Then we actually aren't universally describing the category woman at all. In fact, we are actually not representing that category appropriately, because we are necessarily excluding them, supposedly in the name of representing some common unity between them. If indeed it is the case, as it seems to be from that example, that gender does not actually track to any one of these common features, which are because they're not common, then therefore it also doesn't logically follow that the range of gender, since they don't correspond to biological sex or to chromosomes or to things like that, the range of genders may actually exceed the range of sex designations. Moreover, how we identify the range of sex designations is itself also gendered. Case in point, intersex people are typically sort of excluded from the discussion as like a statistical aberration. They're very, very unlikely. However, they still exist. If you're trying to make a universal statement and you have contraries that exist, the universality of it is belied. The same can go for like any number of other things. Same deal with like quote unquote masculinity or femininity as measures of the degree to which one corresponds to what one in some context associates with, like a certain concentration of testosterone or a certain concentration of estrogen, or like just someone who matches sort of some mental model of what a man or a woman is. Nobody's actually going to measure up to this thing, and many who by some set of arbitrarily sort of amalgamated measures, they're going to fall on some and they're going to succeed on others. You're always going to fail to actually accurately represent them. These are not actually representatives of an actual like concrete type that is not part of some specific cultural imaginary. So that being the case, to kind of insist that gender is downstream from sex inevitably, when sex categorizations are themselves expressions of culturally assumed gender categories, is a little bit preposterous. Case in point, like you refer in this essay to chromosomes, and of course, like, well, I mean, there's even variation there, but you require like specific organ pairs with different partners in order to reproduce. That seems to be a fact of sexual reproduction. However, the manner in which we have hyper fixated on these as the specifically relevant descriptions of a person's social type is itself begging many questions. Once again, not just are there aberrations in terms of like the construction of these of the bodies that perform these sexual roles. There are intersex people, for example, but there are also people who are able to fulfill the sexual roles in principle, but either lose their organs due to incidents or to some kind of deformity, or for whatever reason they just are not so disposed to enacting that role out. And why on earth should they be forced to? Or why should that define their category in society or anything else above the bare incidence of having those features? We don't categorize people similarly in terms of like height or width or whatnot, or stuff like that. But in actual point of fact, we have in the past, like we've made similar categorizations based on like physical features like skin color, class, etc., and so forth. So like it becomes like extremely question begging to just simply insist that gender must be in some sense downstream from sex, just because in present day there is a prevailing notion that there is some intimate association between the two in all cases. That may be the case culturally. We hyperfixate on sex as kind of like the site of gender distinction, erroneously, or at least a lot of us do. But that is in no way a reason to think that therefore these things are actually descriptive of the same thing, or that one is inevitably downstream from the other. That could just be a prejudice in our given culture.
Yeah, I think I'm totally open to that being the case. I think I don't think that we really have evidence that is the case, or overwhelming evidence that is the case. So like there's a part in here.
Wait, can I, before you answer, is it weird if I ask Kid to say what his thought is on that? And
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
well, too bad. I wanted to know before we lost, before we went on. Is that okay?
Well, I don't want Tom to get too lost. I don't want him to feel like he's
No,
dominating the conversation.
that's my problem is I don't want to overload.
Okay, true. Okay.
Especially you were like Tom is at, and then because I have other points about the bipolar system.
Okay, cool.
Which I think will relate, but I don't want to like overload on this point.
Okay, thank you.
Well, so I was gonna say there's a point in here where I don't know if I address that directly, but let's see. It says, and currently we have very little evidence of gendered characteristics that are biological, meaning the differences still exist, but only in small ways. The extreme ends of the gendered spectrum are likely small differences between the sexes that have been over-exaggerated over time and socially reinforced to pressure everyone into performing the most exaggerated version of themselves. Hulk Hogan in a 50s-style housewife would likely never happen without gendered expectations widening the spectrum, more and more exaggerate the small differences between the sexes. So I think that it makes sense that there is a that there is like
go on, please.
That there is somebody who births and then somebody who inseminates. That like evolutionarily, it makes sense that there would be some differences between these two. I just believe that we've greatly over-exaggerate those differences. It's not, but I do believe that those differences exist just in very small ways, and then turn into much bigger differences because of how complicated our society has become.
Okay, but here, so immediately the problem you run into is that that's actually your kind of the lodestone by which you're determining gender identities, and what you're effectively saying is that the various aspects of Hulk Hogan's appearance, traditional masculine or whatever, his muscularity, his mustache, his choice of dress, his occupation, things like that, this is all an expression of insemination. That seems very reductive. It also seems to be very incorrect, because there are, of course, even cis women who engage in the same sport and the same vocations, have the same social roles, and so on and so forth.
I
don't think most of the things by Hulk Hogan are actual representations of insemination. That's what I'm saying. Is I think what Hulk Hogan has become is a bastardized version of what masculinity would actually be, without all of these pressures over exaggerating what the male sex is inherently.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Tom? So you are, when you said that you do not think that this is like a, yeah, you said that it's like not the biggest part, like it's an aspect but it's not the biggest part, is what your position is, right? Or am
What do you
I
mean?
of
What's an aspect?
of like the inseminating person and the I forgot what the other person was.
I'm just saying that
Like it
every
affects
animal,
but not like, but
I'm
it's
saying most
less.
animals have a male and female, and that there are differences between them biologically or evolutionarily, and that you would assume there are going to be small differences between males and females. We just over exaggerate those differences.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that it's over exaggerated. So you are, I'm just not sure if President Sunday knows what your position is exactly. I'm not sure if he's assuming that.
Well, here's the thing. There are going to be necessarily, just because of how sexual reproduction works, there's going to be functional differences in terms of like the role in reproduction of people who possess one set of organs versus people who possess another. But when we're talking about gender, we aren't strictly talking about reproductive role. And the reason why people like gender abolitionists and feminists and so forth exist is because, for various reasons, largely historical, we have tended to assume a large aggregate of specific social roles, including dress, how you are addressed, your appropriate station, based upon role in reproduction. And that seems to be fundamentally incorrect on some level. Among other things, there's infinite variation and crossover between the two, and even the sex distinction itself is blurred because it is the product of an organic process that is not itself actually purely binaristic. It is the case that there appears to be, like, once again, like a binary set of conditions for reproduction, but that shouldn't be defining of categories of persons in societies of intelligent beings that have like a social existence as well as just merely a biological one.
So what else would it be?
Gender?
Because yeah, so like when I think of like the differences, I'm thinking of women who happen to be like they have estrogen, they're a bit more emotional, are more sensitive. Men have testosterone, they're going to be more aggressive.
Well,
and
slow down, cowboy. How about this? What if you have a very we can even include physicality in this if that helps make it clear. What if we have a very timid, sensitive, sort of like caring, nurturing person, very fair features and so on and so forth. In contemporary terms, you would not be able to distinguish them from the average cis woman on the street, but they have a penis and they are technically biologically XY chromosomes, and you have a woman who is muscular, a cis woman who is muscular, active, sort of very, very enterprising, very bold, very commanding, a lot of like traditionally male traits and things like that. And you are picking which one of them you want to send to war. Which one are you going to pick?
I guess the one who's more traditionally masculine.
Well, there you go. So this person is gendered in a male way, but very much not male in terms of their sex. And this is why you need the distinction, because the two do not follow from each other. Moreover, we can imagine, like, let's remove humanity from the situation altogether. We can imagine like those same gendered categories being predicable of like if our species had required 3 or more different biological sets in order to reproduce, or less, same deal. But the category of gender would still be completely appropriate. It just wouldn't be tied to biological sex. And the argument is that it's not, for precisely that reason, because we see people who fall into these social roles not because of their biological properties, or not because specifically of their sex properties.
Yeah, you understand that I'm saying I don't believe that the roles are because of sex. I believe that there are some small parts of gender that actually are because of sex differences.
This is what I meant. I'm sorry that I'm a little stoned and I couldn't explain it very well, but this is what I meant. I don't think
No,
that
but
you
you're
expressed
insistent.
your.
But you're insistent that gender is always going to be tied in some specific way to sex differences. Whether or not it's minor or major, it's going to be always related in some sense to sex differences. Is that correct?
I unless there I don't know of another option or another. Yeah, I don't know of another option. Yeah, of course.
Okay, but I've just given you one though, where sex is not determinative at all of the attitudes of these two people. And these are examples that abound in real life. Like,
They are bound in real life, but those aren't actual patterns within real life. Those aren't things that we see as often from.
but that's kind of immaterial, because the bare fact that there is, like, on average, like a certain common trait does not mean that that is determinate, right? That doesn't mean that that is like definitive of a category of person. That just means this category of person may be a little bit less common. But when we're talking about like gender, especially when we're insisting that gender is downstream from sex, we're actually kind of insisting that in some sense your biological sex characteristics actually determines your social role in some way. It determines in some sense your proper vocation, your proper dress, etc., etc. Like, that's a necessary consequence.
Yeah, so you're saying it's not necessarily tied to sex. And I agree, it's not necessarily tied to sex, but just as far as I can see, it's tied to sex. But I'm open to the possibility of it being something different, or that the patterns don't exist at all, or that they aren't tied to anything at all, except for social pressures. It's just, as far as I can see, they just seem
Well,
to
social
align.
pressures is a really big one. Social pressures may have resulted in the person with the ovaries being the more appropriate one for war, and the person with the testes being more appropriate for, like, like less violent activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's conditioning. That's not sex. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying, is I'm open to that being the case. Like, I believe that it's likely that it's probably at least about 80% of what we would consider gender is likely social conditioning and that the rest of it might be like very loosely connected to sex.
Sure, but that becomes a statistical claim. Then you're saying that on average, this is how the cookie crumbles. But the feminist or the gender abolitionist argument will be that this oughtn't to be how the cookie crumbles, and this can be interfered with through socialization and things like that. So, yeah. It just means you're not really speaking to the category of gender at all, except for noting these are the prevailing notions of gender in contemporary society. But what forces?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm explaining it from a pragmatic view, and then saying why I believe that is the pragmatic view. But
what do you, when you say pragmatic view? What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, pragmatic, like within linguistics, like like the way that we, or based on what it is that's actually being communicated.
Language use, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay, so the problem with that, though, is that language itself is going to be a cultural construction, and the available genders are going to be radically different depending on the sort of, like, categories that are sort of taken for granted within that language. If we have the wherewithal to challenge linguistic norms that gender people or things in certain ways, then that notion of pragmatism is precisely what undermines the essential connection of gender to sex, because we've already imagined ways in this very conversation in which we can talk about it as being completely not rooted in sex and yet still be a completely valid type of categorization. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I do think that at the root of it, it will still end up connected to sex in some ways. I think that even the socially constructed parts are, again, just over-exaggerated things that aren't really necessarily connected to sex. They were just, they were just over-exaggerated.
Why? But why?
Because men happen to build muscle more easily and
Well,
have been-
that's not true. I have a tremendous difficulty building muscle. That muscle mama person on YouTube, she's much bulkier than I am.
well,
very much a
I'm
woman.
speaking in
Wait.
generalities.
Yeah, you said generally though.
Yeah, but
I think generally it is true though, right?
Yeah, probably it is, but that doesn't get us anywhere. Like
No,
would
it does
generally.
because we're
No,
recognizing
because
patterns, and so the patterns are going to be generalities.
Oh, I understand that, Tom, but consider this. If you're in a situation where the majority of people well, not majority, with every single person from birth identified as having particular organs on the outside of their bodies, vaginas as opposed to penises, are forced to stay home, not to learn to read, not learn to ride horses, not learn to fight, etc., then you will enter into a situation where there's a radical physical disparity between people with vaginas and people with penises, and radically different appropriate vocations for those people based on their social conditioning. That is not necessary and does not actually set an example to suggest to us that in all cases the classification of persons actually must in some sense be downstream from their biological sex characteristics. That simply doesn't follow. This is a specific case of particular cultural practices that
What do you mean
produce
must?
these patterns. No, what I'm saying is that the cultural patterns may be what produces the regularity that you're citing as evidence for their inevitability.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm not understanding. Why wouldn't it be? It seems to be the case that yes, if testosterone is going to be if it does make it to where we build muscle more easily, if it does make it to where we're more aggressive, if estrogen does make it to where people are more emotional and where they are more sensitive, then it does seem as though we have two ways of categorizing these phenotypes.
But you know that you have both, right? Like, you have.
That's what I talk about in the thing, is that I say it's on a spectrum because you always have a mix of both. You have a mix of feminine and masculine characteristics. Everybody does.
So, but like estrogen represents the feminine, and are you saying that like the literal hormones in your body affects what your gender is?
Yeah, I'm saying the literal hormones in your body, in your brain, that are affecting the way that you think and the way that you act and your personality. Yeah, I would say.
Except when it doesn't, because once again, we have women who are more suited to the military, and we have men who are more suited to domestic life.
But that's not the norm. That
it doesn't matter if it's the norm. If you're trying to make the argument that gender must always be downstream from sex, then you're making a universal claim. If there are manifest exceptions to the universal claim, it's not universal.
I address this in the document to where I say, like, there are always going to be social pressures that can completely push you away from what it is that is likely to be a biological drive. The biological drive only means that you are more likely to do X. It doesn't mean you are necessarily going to do X or you will never do Y.
No, I understand, but you make statements to the effect of like, women are more sensitive, therefore they are driven to wear more less comfortable clothes and things of that sort.
I don't say that.
You did say that verbatim because I thought that was weird.
I do not. I say that I start that paragraph off by saying it is likely that women wearing those things is just socially reinforced, though it is a possibility. And then I go down a line of logic saying that it is possible that these things could be linked up with biology, but that we assume it is socially constructed, because without evidence of biology, we will always assume the social construct. And in these cases, we don't have the evidence of biology. In most cases, we don't have that evidence.
It seems you're operating a bit of a circle in that you gender the sex differences in order to derive the gender categories from them after the fact. You insist that particular biological sets must necessarily result in certain like social manifestations of a very particular kind, but you only arrive at that by insisting upon some aspect of that being present in germ in the initial sex characteristics by themselves, which you only justify again by reference to the general outcomes. But what is specifically being challenged here, Tom, is that your description of the process by which an infant becomes one of these gender categories that is specifically what is being scrutinized here. Is that your assertion that it's due to some kind of innate feminine drive stands in need of justification. I don't think you provided in the article.
Wait,
I think that, like,
I don't even think people are questioning whether or not testosterone helps you build more muscle.
No,
or makes
they
you more
aren't.
aggressive.
They aren't.
and-
We aren't at all. But being more aggressive and being more muscular is not the definition of being a man. Case in point, Muscle Mama is a woman. I'm not there for a woman because she has a better propensity towards muscle building than I do.
You keep doing this. I'm not
Wait,
understanding.
hold
Of
on.
course, we're only talking about patterns. We're only talking about what is more likely. That is the only categorization. The categorization.
But what is more
based on
more likely? What is more likely is contingent on the circumstance.
Correct.
You're making a universal claim when you say that gender must always, in some sense, relate to sex.
I don't say that. I don't say that. Again, this is what I've been trying to explain this entire
just did,
time. I
though.
think a very small amount of gender actually links back to sex.
No. But every gender links back to sex, is what you say. A small amount of it links back to sex. But
A small
there
amount
is
of
no
characteristics, like whether or not you carry a purse, is feminine, but it doesn't link back to sex, right? You just happen to carry a purse, or whether or not you wear a dress, whether or not you have long hair. These things are considered feminine characteristics, but they don't necessarily link back to your sex. These are just socially reinforced things, and I would assume that is by far the majority of things that we consider gender
But
characteristics.
you define the feminine, though, as that which is expected of that which produces the large gametes, leaving aside for the fact that for the vast majority of human history, we didn't know what the fuck gametes were.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, what you're saying essentially is that these are vagina-like fashion trends. This despite the fact that these are mostly trends that originated with men, for example, and vice versa.
And I mentioned that in the document.
You do. There's discordance here between
right.
these claims.
Are you
There's not-
saying
no,
maybe
wait,
meaning?
I am saying that these things change over time, that it is not all biological, that most of it is not biological. Most of it is not connected to sex.
No,
Most of it has
Tom, we
literally
all
nothing to do with your sex.
Tom, listen, we all understand. You're not following what I'm saying here. So what you are saying is, of gender, regardless of which gender we're talking about, see this pie chart, this is gender. Okay, tiny little sliver, that's sex. Okay?
Yes.
But it doesn't matter if it's this gender or this gender or this gender or this gender, tiny little sliver.
Okay.
Sex. That stands in need of an argument, and simply saying that testosterone helps you grow muscle does not get you to every gender category must be related to sex.
Wait,
because
Tom.
first of all, hang on, 1 second. Okay. Because first of all, once again, like when we're talking about like these signifiers of the feminine, of the masculine, and whatnot, as you just adequately pointed out, these do not refer to sex. So when you insist that these must refer to sex, you're literally just leveraging the fact that at some point historically, these were associated with certain external characteristics as opposed to others. This is a cultural distinction. You're not actually making an argument in favor of the idea that gender must always be downstream to whatever degree from sex.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Here's,
Okay, yes.
wait.
I'm saying that one way or the other, there will always be some characteristics that are more likely of a sex, and that is what we will call gender. But that's all I'm saying, is that even if it ends up just being building more muscle, that will be the only gendered characteristic in the end. If we end up like eliminating all gendered characteristics that have nothing to do with sex, and the last thing left is just whether or not you build more muscle, then that will be the last gendered characteristic that is still called gender.
Tom,
what
wait,
if the
hold on.
last thing-
President, I just want to. Jesus Christ.
Go on.
Chill. I'm just trying to clarify what Tom means when he says this stuff, right? Okay, the audience that you're talking to, like a lot of your audience is more like on the conservative side, right? Or like people that you're talking to aren't necessarily like trans rights. Like, not that they're not specifically, but some of them aren't. Because I'm thinking a thing, maybe it's related to the lens that you're looking through and that President Sunday is looking through reads different than maybe necessarily what you mean. Is that possible, or am I just misreading it?
I'm not sure. I think we're kind of getting to that point right now where I'm explaining that I only think something is considered gendered because it connects to your sex, and that we could eliminate all other characteristics and only have one or two left in the end, and they would still just be called gendered characteristics because they are the phenotype of your sex. They are just patterns that align with your sex.
But that doesn't follow, though, because you can have maybe the most socially relevant roles are not related to sex at all. Maybe, for example, what's more valued in society is whether or not you fit the role in terms of your action and your behavior and your attitude and your aptitude for things like combat, leadership, domestic work, mechanics, etc., and so forth. And we may find that under certain conditions, maybe optimum conditions, that there actually is not even a slant between these two. I rather suspect that's unlikely. Nature doesn't draw in straight lines, and neither does history or society. But that's a possibility. And insofar as it's a possibility, if you're going to say that gender must necessarily resolve to sex, you need to provide an argument, not just the assertion, that sex must necessarily infiltrate into every single possible gender category that could be arrived at.
I don't believe it does, though. You keep saying that, and I keep saying I don't believe it does. I believe that it actually has to do with very few gendered categories.
Okay, but when you...
I'm saying, hold on, the only reason that it connects to sex is because that is the pattern that we recognize. That's it. That is the only reason it connects to sex, is because we see the sex, and we see the pattern align with the sex. So it is it is just a pattern based on sex.
Yes, no. But it's a pattern based on sex that is downstream from culture that is itself not necessitated by sex. I
agree. I'm not saying it is necessarily because of sex. It just aligns with sex. That's what it makes it gender. It just happens to align with sex.
No, but that's not what makes it gender, though, Tom. We distinguish gender from sex specifically because people insisted that gender was downstream from sex, that gender necessarily relates to sex. But the entire point is that it doesn't.
I understand. And I mentioned in the document that, like, yes, people overly push the two into the same category.
No, but our difference, but Tom, our difference is not of degree. This is what you're not understanding. I'm not saying that you go too far. I'm saying that you're actually categorically wrong. You're attaching a thing to something else, essentially, that is not. Like you're just doing that. We went over the entire document. Am I crazy? Kid not kin. Aiko, am I like off base?
I'll let
No,
Kid take it.
So. No, I don't think so.
I'm not even understanding. So if tomorrow women at like 25% of women own fish tanks and start raising fish, and 75% of men own fish tanks and raise fish, we will call that a gendered characteristic. That is a masculine characteristic. Has nothing to do with their biology. They just happen to do that more often. That is what makes it gendered.
We won't though. Case in point, for example, there are height disparities on average between biological females and biological males. We do not classify height as a gender thing. Not intuitively. There are some people who do, surely, but that is not like a universal at all. And so that statement that therefore, because on average, statistically, we discovered more women, or we even tended to observe more biological females have fish tanks, less biological men have fish tanks, or vice versa.
I completely disagree with what you just said. I think we definitely consider taller women to have like what we would consider a masculine height. Yes. For
what?
Sure.
But why?
No, that's not. Hang on. No way in hell. In fact, it's almost a trope where the woman is specifically categorized as taller. For example, like wearing clothing that increases height, accentuates like litheness of form and things like that. That's a specifically feminine thing. It's not more masculine.
But being too
Once
tall.
a woman is around like 6 foot, we would consider that masculine for sure. They are. We would say you are tall for a woman, or
That's a social
or
expectation. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
A social expectation that you should be wearing heels, but not be taller than the man that you're with because you're emasculating him.
Mm-hmm.
See, I speak Tom's language sometimes. I can interpret. That's what he's saying. I'm not saying he's right.
For a long time, like with women, like that, we definitely considered taller women to have like a masculine height. for sure. I think anything that aligns with sex, that it just fits a pattern that aligns with sex, is something we consider gendered. That is the yeah.
What
I
if
wanted
ice
to,
cream? What if? Oh, sorry, go on, kid.
Sorry, yeah, I wanted to. That I mean, this is actually really a really intriguing conversation. But sorry, I'm not like butting in as much because I'm just kind of like hooked. But I did want to pick your brain about something just because it was something that like I found while reading this is that like this idea of, I think this is like a fundamental thing where you have this difference between masculinity and femininity, and they're posed as two opposite ends of this like bipolar spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's actually the case, that masculinity and femininity are opposites of one another, or that they're different and we perceive them as opposites of one another?
I don't think they're necessarily opposites. I think that we have patterns of one group of people and patterns of the other group of people.
So then if you had something that was less masculine, would that thing be more feminine?
Yeah, I would imagine, or not necessarily. So like computers being on computers used to be a masculine thing. Over time it became less masculine, and now it is not more feminine. So I think generally, if something is gendered at all, yes. But as soon as it stops becoming gendered, no. Sometimes things just stop being gendered.
Yeah, but doesn't that like undermine the entire like bipolar spectrum that you laid out before, where you have like masculinity on one side, femininity on the other side, and then you have what I think you probably should have said androgynous, or in the middle, right? So the things that are like androgynous, are those things actually in between these two sides of the spectrum, or is it just this totally other thing that happens to not relate to these two different concepts?
I don't think it's possible for somebody to not have masculine and feminine characteristics. So I'm not sure.
To not have, so like if we're talking about a specific thing, like we can, here's an experiment that I wanted to try with you, right? Because like when you talk about masculinity and femininity, these are things that like are all have to do with like human perception, like how human beings are expressing themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like we can think of masculinity and femininity in ways that don't have to do with human expressivity. We can think about like, what do you think between a spoon and a fork? Which one's more masculine? Which one's more feminine?
I don't think there is one.
You don't think there is one?
Mm.
Well, if you ask people, if you poll people on whether or not they think a fork or a spoon is more masculine, they're going to say that a spoon is more feminine, that a fork is more masculine.
Or
most people are going to make these distinctions here.
Or they might just say a spoon is more feminine and deny that like a fork even falls into the thing. Like there might be something about a spoon that signals to you as being more feminine.
Right. I mean,
but
we could go
Yeah.
further than just these utensils, but you can look at other forms of objects. Cars, for example, right? We know what a masculine car is. We know what a feminine car is. These are really, really obvious. And it's not necessarily just the fact of whether or not like more women drive them or more men drive them. There's particular things about like the shapes of these things, whether or not they're rigid shapes or smoother, rounder shapes, if it's softer colors or more intense colors. These things are all going to be gendered as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like these are referring to different they're relating to the concepts of masculinity and femininity different. Not so much that they're in a spectrum, but like a spoon might be like it'll be rounder, softer than a fork, which could penetrate you with more rigid shapes, etc. And so like, but we can have objects that are non-gendered, right? We can have objects like I don't know what gender you would give spaghetti, but probably not a gender
Non-binary.
at all. So I think we're constantly trying to fit people into an understanding of these categories as this like bipolar system, when it's not necessarily as such. That there could be things that you could wear which aren't actually gendered, but they're more so gendered just because you're wearing them, right? Where like if you had just like a rag over you, if you were just wearing like you just wrap yourself up in like a blanket or whatever the fuck. Like people will gender it just based on you being gendered already, right?
Yeah.
You agree
Yeah,
with
Mhm.
I completely agree.
Okay,
so yeah,
then
so it's
things
like
can
kind of
exist
like what I
outside the gendered spectrum.
sorry.
So then things would exist outside of the gendered spectrum,
Yes, of
including
course.
aesthetics, etc. Right?
Yeah, but I there aren't many that actually exist, right? So there aren't many actual aesthetics that aren't more common of one or the other that somebody wouldn't consider feminine or masculine. So like even like short hair, generally we consider that to be a masculine characteristic. Longer hair is going to be a feminine characteristic, but not necessarily. And it's even the way that you do the hair, right? There's like different types of pixie cuts that are going to be more feminine, even with shorter hair that almost look exactly like a man's hair. But normally, if it's on like a feminine looking person, we automatically consider that hair to be feminine only because it's on a feminine looking person. So I think that there are a
What
Huh?
about like can you imagine a feminine beard?
I think there's like have you ever seen, I forget what movie it is, but there's a movie of like a circus woman, the woman with a beard who actually has like a very feminine looking beard where she has like beads in it
Yeah,
and
beads and
all
braids
sorts of
and
stuff. Yeah.
like that, right?
Hey,
Mhm.
chat. If you haven't
So
liked
like
the
this is something
stream,
which actually
please
exists
do.
within both things, right? It's actually referring to both like concepts.
Also,
Both
how's
of these
the
social
volume
concepts
level
at the
on
same
everyone?
time. Actually, they're referring to the masculine concepts at the same exact time that they're referring to the feminine concepts, right?
You're saying, well, yes, it has different aspects of it that are going to be both feminine and masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing too, right? But like,
What do you mean?
huh?
What do you mean?
It's the same thing. It's the same object.
Yeah, it's the same object, but there's different aspects to the object. Like there could be smell, there could be how how clean it is, how what color it is, the like you said, like whether or not it has braids, like all sorts of different aspects to the thing. It's still a beard, but different aspects to the beard are going to change the way that we categorize it.
Yeah, so like the only thing that I'm really pointing at here is not necessarily that like some things can have both or whatever, but like if we're talking about gender in this like bipolar way, then we're necessarily describing a through line between the both of them. But if you have gendered characteristics that don't refer to like, one has this characteristic and the other one lacks that characteristic, then you would have a through line. But like if you have something where it's like femininity means maybe like let's see. I feel like there's so many things of like gender which is just perceived as oppositions, or that one has this thing, one necessarily doesn't have this thing. But there's just all of these examples of things that like either can have both feminine and masculine at the same time, or have none that we can identify. It seems like masculinity is its own concept that we're constantly referring back to. That femininity is its own concept that we're constantly referring back to, and that there isn't actually this like the less masculine you are, the more feminine you are, or something.
I
like
agree as far as like different traits go. Yes, I completely agree as far as traits go. So like when we're talking about like a computer or hair or cars or things like that, I completely agree. But as far as people go, I think that we're always going to match them to one of these categories and gender them. Like based on the patterns, we are going to overall conceptualize them as one or the other, or we're going to have trouble categorizing them at all, and to us they'll fall into the middle.
I think that's fine. I think that I feel like we're gonna have to pick this up at a later time. I'd love to talk to you one-on-one, but I have like so many things going on right now, and so I'm gonna have to dip out though.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
I feel like this would be worth returning to at some point when we haven't been going over this for. I'm approaching the 10th hour of my stream.
Yeah, of
Jesus
course. And I'll
Christ.
probably go back and watch whatever you guys went over. And then, yeah, it'd probably be easiest if you guys want to talk about this stuff one-on-one. Anytime you guys want to have a chat, just hit me up because I stream pretty much every night.
Sure, yeah, for sure.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for coming on, Tom.
Cool.
Sunday was-
Sorry,
it was
Aiko.
cool,
I feel like you were kind of silent a little bit. I didn't mean to do that. Did
Oh,
I was
no,
gonna
I
ask
w-
before
What?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
you're muted, Aiko.
Shit.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
I was gonna ask before I go. Did you have anything?
I was just I brought us all here together today because I thought it would be very interesting to see how both Kid and President Sunday would interpret your doc. I didn't read it before today, and I have been very interested. I think that sometimes, maybe a lot of times, people think you mean the opposite thing that of what you mean, but also I might be wrong. So
Maybe.
Rip me.
Yeah, I think that a lot of like I had a whole debate with Lav recently where like the entire thing was her trying to tell me that she thinks I'm being prescriptive with my language about gender, and me trying to explain I don't think I am. I think I'm just explaining what it is or what I believe we are observing and how we observe it. But if you ask me
A
for a
lot of people are going
prescription,
to see that as prescriptive. There's not much that you can do about that because, like, people's idea of gender is going to it's in itself prescriptive when two people when they're like, all right, for me, I want to be seen in this way or this way, and then you make an argument of like, well, people see it this way or people exist this way. Like to them, it sounds like you're making a counter argument, right?
Mhm.
It's always going to be seen as prescriptive to a lot of people, and in a lot of cases it does sort of like relate itself to other prescriptions. I
Mhm.
don't think it can completely be like disconnected from that.
well,
They're
and
going to
the
have
people who
ethical
are prescriptive use language like this is what gender is instead of saying this is what it ought to be. They already say this is what it is, aiming for it to like to convince people of what it is that they want it to be.
But
If
you
I may
did that
just-
too. Like that was like in writing, in the way you wrote it. So sometimes it was a little confusing to know what was what. That's all.
Sunday.
If I may, as just a final note, there is a tendency for when people deploy or even just inherit, so schemas, like the fact of sexual dimorphism where you do require two distinct sets of gametes to reproduce and things like that. There is a tendency when people are operating within a system that in some sense either assumes the schema at some level must play a factor to try and relate everything to the schematic. We see this in a bunch of different fields. So for me, a big problem that I deal with a lot is that a lot of people just sort of assume naively that like something like the nation state or the state or the nation or stuff like that. That's just sort of like a given category that you always have to contend with, that when you're talking about politics, you're always talking about the qualities of this thing called a state. And one of the things that's really frustrating is, while there is definitely a discursive mode, just because that's like a prevailing concept in which you can productively talk about like states, the behaviors of states, just based upon how people act about them. There's a tendency to then assume on that basis that therefore this is sort of like an essentially given thing. There's something about this that's rooted in reality and not rooted in convention. Or not merely rooted in convention, if you like. And I would say similarly with respect to the insistence that, like, let's not worry so much about the extent to which any gender must take part in sex, and let's talk about the non-binary question in the first place. You make a very interesting decision to situate the non-binary as being essentially between the two, as if it's a mix essentially of masculine and feminine. But it doesn't seem to me like you've actually justified that thing. It seems to me that by insisting upon these poles as being sort of like the actual, like the thing which actually determines gender sort of categorically.
I don't want to interrupt
bottom.
you guys, but I
Yeah.
do gotta go.
All right.
Bye,
See you, Kid.
Kid.
See ya. Bye.
Everyone go follow Kid. I'll link in chat.
By assuming Here, let me move myself over here so I'm not taking up two spaces. By assuming that these are the two poles, it seems intuitive to say, oh, well, that which is not either must be somewhere in the middle. But at no point did you conceive of, for example, maybe it's just completely outside. Maybe it actually doesn't relate to these two at all. And maybe what's sort of potentially triggering like an intuitive sense these must relate is the prior assumption that when we're talking about gender, we are in
Eva.
fact specifically talking about, in some
How are
sense,
you doing, chat? Like the stream
attributes
if you haven't.
of
Thank
the
you.
average penis bearer or something like that, or vice versa with other things like that. I would strongly suggest scrutinizing that a little bit, because I think there's some underlying assumptions there that are kind of slanting your reasoning process in a way that doesn't necessarily follow, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I think I
And
do
read
justify
Butler.
it.
Don't use the audiobook, for the love of God.
Okay. Yeah, I do think I justify it in there, or at least I attempt to explain why I do that. But it comes off from like talking to non-binary people, the way that they talk about their gender identity. It every single one of them kind of talked to me about it, and then I kind of tried to conceptualize it myself, and then went back to everybody and said, okay, so if I said it being non-binary meant that you had a mix of both feminine and masculine characteristics to the point that you could not easily identify as one or the other, nor easily be identified as one or the other, would you agree with that? And every single one of them just said yes.
So here's a methodological
yeah.
problem in your approach there, just very quickly.
Yeah, of course. I understand the methodological.
No, but very crucially though, just as like being a member of an ethnic minority doesn't therefore mean that you have like a greater grasp of like history or anything. Like it may tend on average to give you some advantages epistemically, but just because you're like a part of an ethnic minority, you don't necessarily have a greater grasp on things like theory of racial emancipation, or the history of a particular group, or the economic and social circumstances of like that particular group, or whatever. There are a million different social like factors that can make you aloof or ignorant or whatever. Similarly, the bare fact of being non-binary doesn't necessarily mean that you have like a firm grasp on these specific theoretical distinctions or these specific scientific distinctions. I can't speak for it and tell it that to speak to you directly, but somebody who I think would be very competent at explaining this, who actually is very grounded in theory and stuff like that, I would recommend. They can it can yell at me if they don't like this at all, but I can recommend shooting Doe a message and seeing if it would like to chat with you on
I
this,
don't
because I
know.
think it would do a fantastic job.
Yeah,
I don't know if it will say yes, and I apologize if I've stepped too far. But
we've talked about having a conversation a couple of times, so
yeah,
we might do that. But okay, I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Well, good to see you, Tom. Thanks for chatting, and yeah.
Appreciate it. Later.
Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
So, how are we today? So, I didn't really have anything to contribute to that so much as I wanted to see what Kid and President Sunday, how they would interpret his communication style. And also, they read it aloud, so I didn't have to read it aloud.
Eat my dick, Shaylin. I don't fucking give a shit what you have to say. Dumb fucking cunt.
Well, I know, Alex. That's why I tried. I don't really know how to explain. I haven't talked to Tom in a very long time. Since the last non-binary arc with the 303-bit cope alert. I have many wet alerts with people's wet faces. Did I call Tom white? No. Can you encourage Tom to read more? I don't talk to him anymore. Oh, I need to upload more emotes. So it's like, I want to just be, I don't call people white anymore because now they know that they're white. Now that you know you're white and you cannot escape it, you know, just make, you know, to make people feel some kind of way. Identity is psychological, neurological, as are any other personality traits. Our sex, as we choose to define it, cannot explain anything outside of those very specific, limited elements. This is just like, how something, it's like, time continues to move on. Things happen, other things happen after that. People move on from this earth. New people come on the earth. Come, Kek. I think ultimately, what, like, I can't, like, there's a fundamental disconnect that doesn't allow me to really like, there are some fundamental things. It's like, if we're not already on the same page with that, then like, that means that I would have to argue for that basic fundamental thing first, and I'm not interested in changing people's minds. I just really honestly wanted to see how Kid and President Sunday would receive him. It would have probably been interesting individually. So I didn't really, you know. So I wasn't really, I was just bearing witness. Oh, I'm exporting it to YouTube right now. The VOD. I switched over. I typically would still be on Twitch. I wasn't mean or anything. This was interesting. Thanks for including us. Of course. Yeah, I would be on Twitch still. I was on Twitch for the read-through. The doc is pinned up top if you want to try to understand it. Honestly, with peace and love, I always felt like I was being gaslit by the way that Tom would say things, because he kind of would tend to mean something completely different. And I wanted to see how they would receive it. This was not interesting. Why'd you have to include us? Listen!
Eat my dick, Shaylin. I don't fucking give a shit
Tom,
what you have to say.
Tom used to stunlock me all the time. I'd just be yelling at him. Okay, wait. I got shown something. Yeah, imprecise language. But it's like, when you talk to specific people, also, I think, I don't know how much time he spends on Twitter, but I think Twitter absolutely distorts your perception of like what various demographics of people think. Okay, should I was sent some links about with Edwin, and I am curious. I'll just look at them real quick. Oh, and okay. I did finish. I do think that I finished the thumbnail for... Relly is 1,000,000,000% clearer. It's just sometimes, like when he explains it, it's just if you take one sentence, you know, you gotta go a little bit further. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Just watch a couple of these receipts that someone sent me with Edwin.
Jessica Hodler.
Nope. I clicked on it and I said,
Stop.
stop. Yes, please. Okay. We will find out exactly what this is.
Listen, I've heard everybody's side in this, so if I'm running defense for anything, it's the truth. So I'm checking everybody to make sure they're not lying.
True. Okay. Let me... People weren't arguing. It wasn't like an argument so much as... Oh, you said... Okay, cool. No, that's totally good. I've been catching up on the 8+ hour Edwin streams. Glad you've kept the cat room narrative alive. Listen, the cat room is not over. In fact, we will find out more about the cat room. I had no idea how much there is. Like not just Babs, but also Babs. But here's the thing. Okay, I really want to come up with a term for someone who, like, what do you call someone like Edwin, like Illuminati, like Mr. Girl in some ways, where they literally... Well, Mr. Girl might be more aware than we realize. What do you call someone like Edwin who is so fucking, like, unaware of how obvious of a liar he is? His receipts are always my receipts. Yeah, the wannabe victims. Like, what? Where they show their ass every step of the way. Like, Illuminati and her receipts on the screen. If you watch... Oh, which reminds me. The last YouTube stream that I did was the Illuminati stuff, but I was... My original... where I covered it, I'm putting up imminently. Oh, yeah. When is that from? Yes, he did say that he was a victim of Salvo, and he also said that we need to keep the same energy he's like, we have to keep the same energy that we gave Tipster for you. That went away really quick. Is this turning into an Edwin stream? Oh no. Okay, wait. Let's see what these are. I do think that I do have that video that you mentioned. But we'll have to do that on an official stream. It's not like he's lolcows. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, delusional people who've gotten away with it for so long that maybe they just, you know, laugh too. Like, where they think that they can bend reality. It's like to suit their own narratives. Lolcow is too nice. What is a violent lolcow? True. Not just obtuse, Aiden. Oh, of course that's clipped someone in the chat. Tom is talking about how he needs to make 2 separate documents now. One for right-wingers and one for left-wingers. Listen, I don't think that it's been appreciated how much I do actually have the ability to interpret what Tom is trying to say versus what is actually being said. Because it's like an hour later, then it's discovered. It's like, yeah, well, reality benders, but it's more like, it's like they destroy themselves with it when they could just not do it. Is it like a kink in chat? Oh, I didn't replace my pen. It's very, very sad. All right, let me open these links and I'll put them on the screen. I do need to order a pen. Kinks are an optic negative, but what Edwin's doing is an optic negative. Yes, when there is nothing left to burn, you must set yourself on fire. True. Where's my fucking source? I'll have to fix my sources. Okay.
Bro, all you've done is ask for scrap.
Go farm.
Go build something. No one's giving you scrap for a stupid fucking YouTube video. You understand?
He's also done
Go farm,
unhinged
play the
things
game, you
that
dumb
are
motherfucker.
unrelated, so. Holy shit.
Holy shit, it's shameless. All you've done scrap like 3 different people and you still come back to the same.
You know
corner.
what you're
You know
doing. Get the fuck out of here. Holy shit. Do you understand me?
Those moans you hear in your mom's room, that's the fucking neighbor piping her down, you pussy.
And I'm that neighbor piping her down. Where's this fucking window capture? Okay, here it is. Finally. Finally. Wait, what mouth noises? Who, me? What mouth noises? Or you mean, I mean, those people, they do all make themselves victims, right? I'm trying to think, like, what's a common denominator?
I'm so sorry. See how they take advantage of a nice guy?
Okay, link, link, link. Okay,
Oh wait, it's not my
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Ed.
Oh wait, it's not my
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Edwin. Bye.
It's not Eva's birthday.
She's an OTK now. Guys, Seer is a big time groomer.
Pardon?
Well,
Pardon?
Wrong.
He was.
Very
He
wrong
was.
word.
I don't know if he is anymore. He fucked with a lot of girls. Like he took a lot of advantage of his fucking. It's fucking weird. Like I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
oh my
Like,
god.
he couldn't fucking sue me for saying that kind of shit. You know, like I've got plenty of girls in my. No, Seer is like, dude. When we were friends, like, he was 25 and he was like dating a 17-year-old. It was fucking weird. You know, he was literally going to a fucking high school's house and driving to her house and fucking her against the fucking bed frame. It was weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, you guys, if you guys follow Seer on Twitch,
Wait, hold on.
bed frame. It was weird.
Where?
He was literally going to a fucking high school's house and driving to her house and fucking her against the fucking.
How do you
bed
know?
frame. It was
How do
weird.
you know about that? That's very specific.
Anyways, you guys, if you guys follow Seer on Twitch, you're following a fucking pedophile. I'm sorry. You're right, Nina?
Jesus. All right.
I mean, not a pedophile, just a hebophile, right? Let's be accurate here. Guys, hey. Hey,
Reminder,
you know
it was
what? I know
12
I'm not keeping
shots.
this up on my channel, but hey.
I got sent
Have
multiple.
him fucking trying to sue me. You know he fucking can't. Because guess what? He fucking sent me a fucking paycheck. He sent me a fucking paycheck after I did my videos on him.
Maybe he wanted. I don't know if that's true because Edwin is a serial liar. If I were someone and I was suffering that torment, and maybe I would too. Maybe I would pay my stalker to leave me the fuck alone. And seems like it didn't work. Why the fuck? What, you took... Okay, you took money and now you let it go. Okay, dude.
Yeah.
What
exactly.
to make you quiet?
What are we talking about? The same Sarah that was friends with Onision?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Like, he is fucking weird.
Wasn't
he, like, asked for
Edwin
girls'
cool
panties
with
and shit.
Onision?
No. I understand. I was just like disconnected with like Sarah and Onision, and I was like, wait, I think they were friends at some point. So I was like, I was trying to connect it, but no, that makes sense.
I'd actually argue that. I don't know. I feel like
They were-
on like different kinds of weirdness, you know, like
I mean, they were roommates. I guess he lived at Onision's place at some point.
well, like okay.
Seer
like,
was roommates with Edwin.
Seer had a lot of like women. Like he always.
That's one. Like, he's been doing this for years. It's wild. Okay, let's see. Oh, and this is another one.
I mean, make your ex-boyfriend look bad one more time. I mean, I will fucking smear him at your cost. Sure. Like, it's so funny, you know. And this is the awkward part.
Smearing him?
Huh?
What? Was that a fucking Freudian slip? You're gonna smear him?
Make him smear my shit all over him. Sure, I will smear my shit all over him.
Uh-huh.
Because
Edwin.
at her cost. No, here's the thing. Look,
Oh,
my
you.
God, we can't have any real conversation because Nick keeps trolling.
No, Nick is correct. This is why. Listen, if you are a liar, you probably don't want to be friends with Nick. Hey, Liana. Also, hello if I haven't said hello to someone. Absolute pathological liar. But he's so bad at it. Maybe he's gotten better at like finishing his sentences. Oh no, I think that like I mean his whole content is he's the Me Too guy. You know? As if he gives a fuck. What is... Okay. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. I appreciated you telling Edwin to stop being gross in his stream. I'm no prude, but it's unbearable having him say anything sexual. For a multitude of reasons. In reality. It's like extra gross coming out of his face. It just is. That's just the truth. I didn't do it. Okay. This is what I'm concerned with regarding wait, which one? Did I watch the wrong one?
Nick, why
That's not trolling. That's not trolling. Wait, that's not trolling, dude. He literally said, "I will fucking."
Because I'm
smear your
okay. Well,
boyfriend."
okay.
Oh, wait.
To be honest, look, Nick, and here's
Oh,
how
is
you
this part two? Is this the wrong one? Hold on. I think it's out of order. Okay, no. That is also out of order.
me make your ex-boyfriend look bad one. Oh wait,
Happy birthday, Edwin.
Wait. I don't even know what is what.
One more time. I mean, I will fucking smear him at your cost. Sure, like it's. Bad one more time. I mean, I will fucking smear.
Okay, wait. No, this is it, I guess. Who is he talking about? Is he talking about Dasha?
I mean, make your ex-boyfriend look bad one more time. I mean, I will fucking smear him at your cost. Sure, like it's so funny, you know.
You
and this is the awkward part.
Smearing him?
Huh?
What? Was that a fucking Freudian slip? You're gonna smear him?
Make him smear my shit all over him. Sure, I will smear my shit all over him.
No, such a bad.
At her cost. No, here's the thing. Look.
Oh my God, we can't have any real conversation because Nick keeps
Yeah,
trolling.
Nick, why
That's not trolling. That's not trolling. Wait, that's
No,
not
Nick
trolling,
is
dude.
right.
He literally said, "I will fucking."
Because
smear
I'm
your
okay. Well,
boyfriend."
okay. To be honest, look, Nick, and here's the honest truth. I'm not trying to go out of my way. I don't. It made me uncomfortable
No,
when
no,
that
do you know
fucking
what
viral.
smear means? Like,
Okay,
you literally just
yes,
said, "I'll make up shit about
because-
your
Hey,
fucking
plants.
boyfriend to fuck you up." That's not me trolling. That's legitimately
Right.
like important
Okay.
for the conversation.
Let me explain. It's uncomfortable. I know that's how it's gonna be looked at, right? Like when that
No,
clip went
Edwin
viral,
is a
I was
piece of
uncomfortable.
shit
I didn't
and
wanna talk
also
about it. I didn't
horrible.
go out of my way to talk about it. I didn't even
You don't
address
blame him for his mistakes? Why? He's like 35. He's like a 35-year-old serial liar. You know? Why? Why wouldn't you? He's a loser. He's not even cool. That's like really one of the saddest things is when people I'm not saying you, but when people run cover like Repzilla. But he sucks too. When people run cover for someone and they're not even cool or interesting. I thought he was only stupid. I did not realize that he was also malicious. And that's hey, that's my bad. Okay, cool, David. Thanks for hanging out. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope your power goes back. Chat is much better without Repzilla. Repzilla's fucking sucks. Hey Titan. Okay, let's see.
There's nothing to address for me. Like, I'm not trying to
Listen.
make your.
This is why people are scared of Nick, because he'll just say it. He'll say the thing. And a lot of other people will like overlook it. So yeah, probably Isn't it? I feel like I hear sometimes when someone is on a stream and like there will be like visible distress, or not visible, but you can audible distress in someone's voice when someone's like, "Oh, Nick's in chat," or Nick wants to come in or something. They're like, yeah, he won't protect your secrets if like you're being, you know, whatever. But again, I don't know Nick super well, and any of us I could be a predator. We don't know about anything, but from as far as I've seen from Nick, he seems like he tries to keep it pretty real, and I appreciate that. Yes, Steven Crowder, shaky voice, exactly.
Your ex-boyfriend look bad one more time. I mean, I will fucking smear him at your cost. Sure. Like, it's so funny.
Smear him at
and
your
this is the awkward
cost.
part.
How would your feces be at their cost?
Hearing him?
Huh?
What? Was that a fucking Freudian slip? You're gonna smear him?
Also, if you're on, make sure you're on live chat and not top chat. And also, like the stream if you haven't. That would be very cool. Thank you.
Make him smear my shit all over him. Sure, I will smear my shit all over him.
He's always been the same, hasn't he?
At her cost. No, here's the thing. Look.
Oh my god, we can't have any real conversation because Nick keeps trolling.
Yeah, Nick, why are you
That's
trying
not
to
trolling. That's not trolling. Wait, that's not trolling, dude. He literally said, "I will fucking smear
because I'm
your
okay. Well,
boyfriend."
okay. To be honest, look, Nick, and here's the honest serious. I'm not trying to go out of my way. I don't. It made me uncomfortable when that
do you
fucking
know what
viral.
smear means? Like,
Okay,
you literally just
yes,
said, "I'll make up shit about your fucking boyfriend to fuck you up." That's not me trolling. That's legitimately.
Right.
Like,
Thank you,
okay,
Reaper. I
Let me
appreciate it.
explain. It's uncomfortable. I know that's how it's gonna be looked at, right? Like when that clip went viral, I was uncomfortable. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't go out of my way to talk about it. I didn't even address it. There's nothing to address for me. Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, let me capitalize this. Like, that shit was a stupid moment. It's a members only. It's not even on my channel publicly. Whatever. Somebody clipped it in the fucking Augie clip live thing. But you know what happened? Whatever. But the thing is, like, I don't care to go out of my way to talk about it because people already think it's vindictive or whatever. But it's like, oh,
Dude, you are fucking vindictive. Also, it's like he thinks that if something is on like members only stream or something, that it's like private. No, you are ridiculous. And no amount of cope is going to change reality. Hey, Easy. someone sent me some clips of Edwin accusing Seer of being a pedophile and shit. Not at all a smart man. There's no upside.
Oh, no, you want to see me smear him?
No, not new. Going back like years and years, which is why it's like I don't think he's gonna stop. He's just not gonna stop. It's like people try to Giga Chad their way through it. We have to think there is an analogy somewhere.
Do it is what I'm trying to say, because Dasha, that's literally, she tweeted out that like, oh, Edwin is vindictive. It's like, no, fuck you, you're the fucking bitch. This woman is the fucking psycho. So like, that's kind of what I was trying to get at. But
thing is, Edwin,
wait,
I want you
way to talk about it, because people already think.
No, Reaper. If he does, he needs to leave. Well, no, he's so fucking. Okay, he needs to leave everyone alone. Do it with himself. Make up a person in his head, because he's infringing upon other people's rights to not have to like deal with his bullshit, you know? If it was all like an act, but even still, he's just really like stupid. Has he considered staying quiet? No. No. He has enemies. He makes people his enemies. Listen, but he tries to prey on people he thinks are weak. People who don't have backup, or like Babs, who isn't a public figure at all, doesn't have a platform, you know, just harassing her and plans on dropping multiple videos. Just stop. But you know what? It's also getting too late. It's like the longer it goes, the more that I see that I didn't know about, the more that it's like, I've said this whole time that if he leaves Babs alone, if he just says, I was wrong, I apologize, and leaves her alone, and doesn't make videos, and doesn't talk shit, I would not do this publicly anymore. Do I fucking believe him? No. So I would still, you know, do it. But I wouldn't be streaming about it necessarily. So he could stop this. But now it's like all these other people. There are so many people with so many receipts of Edwin fucking people over for like years and years. And my neurospicy brain just zooms into the details. Remember when he was preying on Javi, Vanity, and Onision's victims? I wasn't around for that stuff either. It's like, what do you do with someone who's just a liar? Like, no matter what, he will keep lying. Does he still talk about having studied some kind of psychology? He said that he went to college or something. Okay.
It's vindictive or whatever. I was like, oh no, you want to see me smear him? I'll do it. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't care to go out of my way to make your ex-boyfriend look bad one more time. I mean, I will fucking smear him at your cost. Sure. Like, whoa, it's so funny, you know. And this is the awkward part.
Smearing him?
Huh?
What? Was that a fucking Freudian slip? You're gonna smear him?
Make him smear my shit all over him. Sure, I will smear my shit all over him.
Mm-hmm.
Because at her cost. No, here's the thing. Look.
Oh my god, we can't
Rip.
have any real conversation because Nick keeps
Yeah,
trolling.
Nick, why are you
That's
trying
not
to fucking?
trolling. That's not trolling. Wait, that's not
Okay.
trolling, dude. He literally said, "I will fucking
Because
smear
I'm
your
okay. Well,
boyfriend."
okay. To be honest, look, Nick, and here's the honest serious.
How did this turn out for poor fucking Bo Blacks? You know, when he went on Chud's stream and said the thing about Seer, I thought that he would have something like backing it up. Like he would have. I thought that, I don't know.
See how they take advantage of a nice guy?
I just thought he was stupid.
I'm not trying to go out of my way. I don't. It made me uncomfortable
No,
when
no,
that
do you know
fucking
what
viral.
smear means? Like,
Okay,
you literally just
yes,
said, "I'll make up shit about your fucking boyfriend to fuck you up." That's not me trolling. That's legitimately like
Right.
important
Okay.
for the conversation.
Let me explain. It's uncomfortable. I know that's how
He
it's
is-
gonna be looked at, right?
He's stupid, but so fucking confident. And so just the audacity, like the brazenness of his lies makes people who don't know how fucked up he is more likely to believe that he has a good reason for saying or doing whatever he is, you know?
Right? Like when that clip went viral, I was uncomfortable. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't go out of my way to talk about it. I didn't even address it. There's nothing to address for me. Like I'm not trying to be like, oh, let me capitalize this. Like that shit was a stupid moment. It's a members only. It's not even on my channel publicly. Whatever. Somebody clipped it in the fucking Augie
Members
Flip
only
Live thing. But you know what happened? Whatever. But the thing is like. I don't care to go out of my way to talk about it because people already think it's vindictive.
Do you know
or
what
whatever.
stream,
like, oh,
Carla?
No, you want to see me smear him? I'll do it. Is what I'm trying to say. Because Dasha, that's literally she tweeted out that like, oh, Edwin is vindictive. It's like, no, fuck you. You're the fucking bitch. This woman is the fucking psycho. So like, that's kind of what I was trying to get
It's so
at.
interesting. Did everyone know that Edwin was just like so two-faced? Like he'll just switch from being a respect woman to that clout whore is lying. You don't know which stream it was? He was all ready to throw Salvo the fuck under the bus, reading out the DMs. I've known that for years. He would have someone on his stream and then an hour later talk shit on them. Essentially, yeah. It's like, I don't know if he's just been a YouTuber for a long time and he recorded your call without your consent. Yeah, apparently he does that quite often. Does he care that that's not like necessarily legal? He just, so you can get by on so much just like just saying whatever you're saying confidently. But now I'm over it. I feel like this has happened enough times where I should be able to point at someone and be like, they're a shenanigans person. And I don't have to like, you know, you don't have to believe me. But when someone, like, obviously, I'm debunking all of Edwin's lies about Babs in particular, because he's planning on dropping a video, potentially multiple videos, about her when she didn't even accuse him of anything other than being, you know, creepy and making her uncomfortable and not leaving her house when she told him to leave and like staying for days more. How fucking weird is that for a man to just stay in your house? Like, not leave. What are you gonna do? What do you do? Are you gonna call the police? When Keem yelled at me and Edwin just sat there. He eventually, he kicked him eventually. I don't know why. I don't know if someone suggested it or if he was just, he felt like that was the optical thing to do. I'm unsure. But, you know, he was, he presented his, like, respect women and take care, like, help victims, face towards me. That was the face that he, put forth throughout the not even that long time of knowing him. Reaper, leave Carla alone. There's no shenanigans in my chat. Shenanigans abound everywhere. But here, when you talk to someone, talk to them, and you're like, fuck this person. Talk to everyone like they're someone that you, like a relative that you love but like don't like. And if you can't do that, then just don't. And if they're being weird, tell a mod. So I don't know anything about anything. I have no idea. I didn't go deep into the Salvo stuff. Because, you know, I just think that, you know, I just want people to, like, know what they are associating with, you know? Like, he literally was saying on his New Year's stream, he was like, how he felt, like, bad and responsible for introducing Salvo to, like, women in his community. But I'm not concerned about Salvo. What am I gonna do with, like, I'm not trying to make anything happen with people when, like, Salvo is Salvo. But Edwin lied to my, well, virtual face. And I just think that people should know who they're fucking with. If I'm weird, should you tell the mods? Yes. Hey, problem. And, I will note it, lettuce. If you are weird, you are welcome. But here's the thing. People can be entertaining and that's great and whatever. But, like, you don't make it other people's problems. If you can't be entertaining by yourself, then don't do this. I'm going to open the window, actually, because I just rolled a joint. You are Mr. Girls Chat, Peter. Okay. That's a good idea, Lettuce. Why is that a confession?
Is, Edwin, I want you to expose him. I want
Well,
you to
and
be vindictive.
no, but
I want you to, especially if he's a hebephile.
Because Bo Black, see, he thought that he was his friend and he trusted him. What happened? Why don't we have automatic windows yet? What does that mean?
I don't,
what?
Okay.
Yeah, I hate this argumentation from you because if you legitimately think he's like a fucking predator who like engages with minors and stuff like that, and your only like pushback from not saying anything about the proof that you have supposedly have is that people will think you're vindictive, then you just don't give a fuck about victims.
No, that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Maybe I'll play the Chud thing. Why? Wait. I gave up weed. Wait. Here. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Chud logic. Okay. Ugh.
Pictures of.
Claims against Seer. All right.
Well, what?
Damn. God, it's so obvious. If you know that it's like on purpose and he's not. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I need to stop. You know what? I don't think okay. Lance never DM'd me back about the Illuminati stuff. And I was thinking more about like how to explain it, but no. I infantilize people. No more. Enough people have messaged him, I'm sure. And it wasn't before I DM'd him before his terrible video drop, so okay. Where is it?
Well, what I had said, I used a P word. I was like, well, okay, not technically. And I said it's a he, feeble. Well,
okay, cool. So I guess the main thing that my audience would want to hear about, because this is something that occasionally pops up when your name came up.
Hey, Attica.
Speak to you. So there was a clip of you circulating.
This is a one-off YouTube stream. It's typically Sunday and Tuesday. Tuesday we did Illuminati. Sunday we'll go back into Edwin's gift receipts to me. Oh, is the Tim Pool thing gonna be live? Hey, Ralph. But what was I saying? Fuck. I forgot. It's fine. Oh, I want to watch so tomorrow or tonight technically on Twitch. I want to watch the Tim Pool thing. Lance is going to be on Tim Pool. But yeah, like I said, I have a problem with in vandalizing people, I guess. So no more.
That even Canute watched on stream, I believe, where you made some allegations about Sia, who is a prominent like OTK guy. So, how did that happen, and do you still stand by the statements?
Well, what I had said, I used a P word. I was like, well, okay, not technically. And I said it's a he, feeble file, whatever that word is, right? And look, I don't know him anymore. I just know during my time knowing him, he did kind of text a lot of younger fans, and I don't know if the diagnosis would be that he has a specific attraction to younger people, because obviously he did have like the ex-girlfriend that was psychotic, that like ruined my friendship with him. Like it's so funny because Lav messaged me about her last year, but I didn't check the DM until like before I even know about any of this. But she told me like, hey, yeah, I dealt with Dasha, she's psycho, blah blah blah. But
Lav. Yeah, I mean, I just thought Edwin was stupid. You can't just make claims like this with nothing to substantiate it. So that's why he was like, it's fucking wild. I just thought that Edwin was naive. But that was stupid. So whatever the case is, I don't... Yeah. I don't know. Like, you know, can you imagine? Just imagine seeing him and thinking that he's being honest, but stupid. Because I haven't known him very long.
anyways, because Dasha's a huge narcissistic psycho. And wait, do you know?
Oh, yeah. Listen, Edwin always has women fight his battles. Always. Dove. That bitch needs to shut the fuck up. Look for the Chris Hansen era. Yeah, I think that was going to... Exactly. Shut up, Dove.
Here, by the way.
I know. I don't.
Told me like, hey, yeah, I dealt with Dasha, she's psycho, blah blah blah. But anyways, because Dasha's a huge narcissistic psycho. And wait, do you know Seer, by the way?
I know. I don't know any of the.
Oh,
big
okay, cool.
Guys.
But
cool. He looked very relieved. He is stupid and he's malicious. He's malicious, stupid, and delusional. So I don't know what... There is an analogy that I can create terminology from to talk about this phenomenon of when you I don't know. I wrote a bunch of the traits down. Maybe we can have willfully stupid. But he, like, it's like, does he, like him, Lav, it's just people who are so fucking, like, they do not give a fuck about lying. Simping. Well, people sim for Edwin, and why? He's not cool. he's trying to be friends with her again. Is she still around? I didn't know anyone then, but I had just started watching some of Creepshow's videos. When all of that happened, I was like, Jesus. It's like I don't go looking up people's lore when I meet them. But it's like there are so many people that are shitty that I just didn't know. Repzilla is a fucking snake. Willful ignorance, willful delusion. I mean, okay, I heard someone, I don't remember who, but there's a channel that doesn't use a camera that sounds very like Creepshow's voice, but the channel's been around longer, so I don't know. Literally true, simping for Edwin is in fact idolizing a mediocre pussy. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't think that it was her, but I just thought about it. It would be hard to do like show up as like a new commentary channel that sounded like her. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. That really sucks that someone had to prove that they weren't Creepshow. See, this is the thing. People who are messy bitches and create entertainment by how fucked up they are, there are still people who got fucked up by it. So, I mean, I just want less of that to happen or like be stopped in its earlier forms. Creepshow is addicted to stalking in a way I cannot see her being able to stop doing it. She's on here somewhere, in my opinion. Yeah. That started. Oh, really? Like people will say things randomly like about this channel Mysterious that I've seen. I watched like maybe a couple Trisha videos that I don't remember at all. My pen is so broken. Rip. There was like the most fucking ironic community post from Repzilla thanking domestic violence victims for commenting on their stories on his channel. It's just I don't know. Sometimes you gotta marinate. All right, back to this video.
But like basically, like probably I don't know what the back when Snapchat was popping, like Twitter, like hey yeah I knew.
Here.
I don't know if the diagnosis would be.
Believe where
You know what? We'll just
I
go back
like
to
covering drama topics for like 3 to 9
Fuck it.
hours.
Let's just
so
watch.
then eventually I was like, you know what? I'll just make another channel.
We're just
I
gonna
used a P
fucking
word. I was like, well, okay, not technically.
watch
And I said it's a feeble file, whatever that word is, right?
Okay, I guess my difficulty is that's a pretty big claim, but you don't have anything to substantiate that.
She
Aluminum
was
foil?
deceived, and like they would get her drunk and tricked her into being in a relationship.
To me, I just think that's kind of crazy to say and like, have it sitting out there.
Other stuff.
Just saying that you're texting with someone that's 16. That is mental.
At the end of the day, it's like it's not for me to say. It's not. Like that's
But
the
you
inappropriate
said it.
part.
Oh my god! But you said it, mate.
He just like completely bent over and basically got pegged by her at every turn.
I think
Wait, that's a group that covered up sex crimes. What the fuck?
This is gonna be so weird to watch. This is gonna be so fucking weird, isn't it? To see it. Because I just saw it when it happened and I thought Edwin was just naive. but that there was something behind it. And now, knowing everything that I know about what an insane liar he is, I feel like this is going to be so weird. This is going to be very weird. We're going to need to use a lot of wets here. A lot of wets. Rip. Also, if you haven't liked the stream, that would be very cool. Thank you, thank you.
Probably don't have evidence of like that, but I have my own personal experiences.
Traffic, by the way.
Essentially, I was.
Stop!
I was.
Turn the faucet off on these. What is going on?
It's hazardous.
I'm
Oh
good,
my
brother.
god.
How are you?
Good, good.
So,
Okay, so
who are you?
So I'm Edwin, and I've been a YouTuber since I was like in high school. But I mean, not technically, right? Because it wasn't always a job. And yeah, I'm 33, believe it or not. I know it.
Do we believe that? I feel like no.
People think I look young, but so
Not anymore, bitch. Sorry. Your eye filter can't save you.
it didn't become a job until probably like I'd say, let's see, like 2016ish. But you know, it became more comfortable around 2018 probably, and I kind of found my niche through doing commentary after experiencing my own personal drama and everything. And I started doing a lot of commentary videos, like well scripted research videos on my YouTube channel, Edwin's Generation. And I always loved live streaming though. Like I used to be on Blog TV, then like you now, and all these live streams. And I would do live streams on the Edwin's Generation channel, but then like I would private them because it didn't really fit the flow of like scripted content. And then like me live streaming for like 3 to 9 hours. So then eventually I was like, you know what, I'll just make another channel. So I made this channel, Homeboy Edwin, and that's kind of where I'm at now. I haven't really uploaded on that scripted content channel because it became kind of stressful. It's kind of like hard. It's harder, right? And then live stream
What, you think he's 33? I don't know. I've heard otherwise.
is technically more fun, yeah. So that's where I'm at, and I like covering drama topics. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, cool. So I guess the main thing that my audience would want to hear about, because this is something that occasionally pops up.
I'll link this.
When your name came up, coming to speak to you. So there was a clip of you circulating that even Canute watched on stream, I believe, where you made some allegations about Sia, who is a prominent like OTK guy. So how did that happen, and do you still stand by the statements?
Well, what I had said, I used a P word. I was like, well, okay, not technically. And I said it's a he, feeble file, whatever that word is, right? And look, I don't know him anymore. I just know during my time knowing him, he did kind of text a lot of younger fans. And I don't know
I'm
if
older
the
than him.
diagnosis would be that he has a specific attraction to younger people, because obviously he did have like the ex-girlfriend that was psychotic that like ruined my friendship with him. Like it's so funny because Lav messaged me about her last year, but I didn't check the DM until like
Lav,
before I even know about
that's
any of this.
a
But
warning
she told me
sign.
like, hey, yeah, I knew.
That is a warning sign. 1,000,000,000%. Can you fucking imagine that combination of people plotting?
dealt with Dasha. She's
I'm only
psycho,
gonna
blah, blah, blah.
watch
But
a
anyways,
little of this.
because Dasha's a huge narcissistic psycho. And wait, do you know Seer, by the way?
I know I don't know any of the
Oh,
big
okay, cool.
guys.
Oh, okay, cool.
But like
What?
basically,
You'd have to deal
like,
with
you
it?
know, probably I don't know what the back when Snapchat was popping, like 2014, 2015, 2014, 2015 for sure. Like, and you know what? Like, I guess I can feel not comfortable. It's a very uncomfortable thing to talk about. But you know what? I ask you hard questions, and this is even harder thing to say. But like, because it's like
He
it's
loves
awkward,
it.
and
He loves it. Come on, you fucking love this. He's getting off. Where's RGR?
I don't regret it, but like, because I don't live in regret. But like, it's just it's a pain because you know the way people respond. I didn't even really get backlash too. Like I went on vacation shortly after. Like and that live stream clip had happened on my birthday, July 1st. So, like people randomly circulated because of the whole OTK drama.
Right.
But
I would like to also mention, especially, it was very noticeable, especially after the streams at Bab's house. I don't know if maybe it was supposed to be an interview. I'm not really sure.
yeah, because it was older. But basically, like even if I wanted to quote unquote save my ass, like I don't have to because I have.
Like, Edwin assumes that, like, everyone is interested in him and, like, what he has to say, and, like, he's just fundamentally worth listening to, I think. And Babs was asking the chat questions, you know, in the stream, in the VOD. And Edwin was like, no, they're supposed to ask us questions. And it's like, you just don't want to fucking. He's like, let's just talk about me.
I know 2 women that like knew him in that time, and then like other people randomly like corroborated. But like one of the girls sent me even one of the Snapchats that he was sending like to like ask for nudes and stuff. It's like he would send like pictures of his watch and like he did send very lewd pictures, and he had a whole Tumblr
Of his
blog. Like
watch?
it wasn't as like undercover as people might think. Like people knew about his like sex Tumblr and everything. Like he was very like sexual with his fans. It was very, and like if he hasn't deleted his tweets, you could probably see like tweets from his like.
That is so ironic. Oh, he was so sexual with his fans. Dude, you flew out to meet one. Like, okay, what about all the fucking, like, victims that you try to hear their story and then also jerk off in front of them? Like, come on. It's like this level of delusion. It's like living in a little pocket universe. Like okay. You know what? Do you think, okay, it's like he's on the Truman Show, but on the Truman Show, like it's as if the guy in the Truman Show thought that he was on a show like that, but meanwhile, he's just delusional, right? It's kind of like that. It's the opposite of knowing that there's a show about your whole life and everyone is there for you, right? It's like a reverse Truman Show, right? 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 I think that's actually kind of a good, like a good thing with him specifically. Because it's like he thinks that everything is about him and for him and shit. Like everything is, yeah, exactly. Like, but all social media, all everything. Did Babs ever say whether he chipped in for gas? I have no idea.
2006, 2016, 2015, 2014, you could see a lot of his sexual tweets, like talking to fans and stuff. If people really wanted to dig in, if he doesn't delete his tweets, you could see it. That's just facts.
Okay, so here's the thing, though, right? Like, I think there's obviously potentially a moral question over the sexual stuff with fans, and certainly you can engage in like an inappropriate relationship if it's done incorrectly or done without care. But I guess like that in and of itself isn't as big a deal as like the claim he was like talking to people who were 17.
Okay,
And I
cool.
guess that like I appreciate it was an older clip. I didn't realize that, but probably something you didn't realize was going to
They
circulate.
were
again.
like 16, 17 for sure, like girls. Yeah.
Okay, I guess my difficulty is that's a pretty big claim, but you don't have anything to substantiate that. I wouldn't imagine.
Well, I could fetch like a picture and I could send it to you if you want, like of him and the girl.
Oh
I could
yes,
get her a
Annika.
license.
But he doesn't actually believe that. He's just doing PR for himself, you know?
She's from Australia. One of them, like, get her to send me her license or something, because I like, she was a fan of both of us, and she was like, yeah, that was kind of weird, and like, like, but at the end of the day, like, he's never like pushed back on it, and like he wouldn't, because it just isn't. And I hate it because like this is like Lav just did all this with it, but it's like I'm confident in what I'm saying. Like obviously I have a big reputation for like my channel and everything. I wouldn't fucking.
He fucking put his channel on the line. Damn. I'm swallowing this smoke. Jesus. Wow. I've become hyper aware of how many times he uses the word like. Yeah. Wow. Okay, wait. Clipboard. Where the fuck? Okay.
See how they take advantage of a nice guy?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Lots of notes. Okay. So Chud video. Sorry, my OCD is making me super crazy, and it's worse when I don't sleep enough. Okay, Chud video. Fuck. This goddamn pen. No, this will make me fall asleep. No, stop. This is wrong. Okay. Hey, LR. Okay. Okay, I just want the time stamp of that. Where the fuck is it?
Kids, that's a pretty big claim, but you don't have anything to substantiate that. I wouldn't imagine.
Well, I could fetch like a picture and I could send it to you if you want, like of him and the girl. I could get her a license. She's from Australia. One of them, like, get her to send me her license or something. Because I like, she was a fan of both of us, and she was like, yeah, that was kind of weird, and like, but at the end of the day, like, he's never like pushed back on it, and like he wouldn't, because it just isn't like, oh, and I hate it because like this is like Lav just did all this with it, but it's like I'm confident in what I'm saying. Like obviously I have a big reputation for like my channel and everything. I wouldn't fucking trash it over this shit. Like he was my best friend for a long time too.
Exactly. Exactly. Right? This is an unhinged thing to do. Listen, I'm very stoned. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the vertical thing so that way I can just make a short of this, because I won't remember later. I'm very stoned. Let's see. This is a fucking unhinged thing to fucking say. Okay.
That's also the annoying part, because like his ex-girlfriend's like, oh, Edwin's then
like
but at the end of the day, like,
realize that, but
okay,
probably something you didn't realize was going to circulate.
they were
again.
like 16, 17 for sure, like the girls. Yeah.
Okay, I guess my difficulty is that's a pretty big claim, but you don't have anything to substantiate that. I wouldn't imagine.
Well, I could fetch like a picture and I could send it to you if you want, like of him and the girl. I could get her a license. She's from Australia. One of them, like, get her to send me her license or something. Because I like, she was a fan of both of us, and she was like, yeah, that was kind of weird, and like, but at the end of the day, like, he's never like pushed back on it, and like he wouldn't.
He's
because,
never pushed back on it.
Like, oh, and I hate it because like this is like Lav just did all this with it, but it's like I'm confident in what I'm saying. Like obviously I have a big reputation for like my channel and everything. I wouldn't fucking trash it over this shit. Like he was my best friend for a long time too, and that's also the annoying part, because like his ex-girlfriend's like, oh, Edwin's vindictive. Like, no, I don't even care. Like I never did this for clout. Like I was drunk and said something dumb. Like I presented it in a dumb way, but like, and I never planned to even address it afterwards. But I'm not gonna back away if you confront me with it.
No, sure. I just guess that for me, like, and the thing is, I appreciate you saying you can get the fucking license and shit, and obviously it's difficult to really manage that now and stuff. And I guess that, like, for me, if you're going to make a claim, because that's like potentially a legal issue if it's someone that's 16, say, like, you would probably want to have something together to put it out there. And I've just asked you about it, and you just fucking said it. I didn't expect you to say it again. Like, Jesus, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess realistically, like when there's no quote unquote victim, I guess nobody's like feeling guilty, right? Like you do some kind of fucked up, like, but nobody's like I guess I judged it. And it's weird to process it. Like back then I didn't really like understand it, like, or whatever. I obviously, because people might also say, oh, why don't you say something back then? Because it wasn't like I really processed it in the same way. Like, it seemed like it was just, maybe it was just because he had subscribers and he was just flexing kind of thing. But like also like close friends of mine also, like he dated like a girl that was also 17. Like close friends of mine would corroborate. But like then I'm like involving other people, and it's like awkward. But obviously it's a drunk comment that
that you're now making again sober.
Yeah.
Well, you're asking me about it. What do you want me to say?
Well, I don't know. I thought you might.
Edwin is. I would never stop. I would never stop saying the R word. Edwin is not even paying attention to himself. He's just saying things. It doesn't matter. Lav, that's what she does too. It's just mouth sounds. It's like patterns of cadence. Like earlier. With this. Since let me put this here. Where's the thing? Come on. Come on. Like this. Oh yeah, actually, it is a really good that is actually a really good screenshot. Hold on, let me take that. Ah. God damn it. Okay, wait. Okay, I got it. Cool, cool, cool. By the way, I was drunk shit again. Exactly. He's just gonna fall through the entire earth. He just dug a hole through the entire earth. He will prove flat earth theory because he will fall down and never come out of anywhere where there's gravity. We'll never find him again, which is totally fine. No one needs you. So this is what they're talking about.
Oh wait, it's not my
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Edwin. Bye.
It's not Eva's birthday.
She's an OTK now. Guys, Seer is a big time groomer.
Pardon?
Well,
Pardon? Wrong.
He was.
Very
He
wrong
was.
word.
I don't know if he is anymore. Like he.
I don't know
like,
if he is anymore.
with a lot
That is an insane thing to say. Like, groomers just stop. Groomers just stop. Oh shit, I didn't have it on the right screen. God damn it. Shit, I gotta start over. Sorry.
Oh wait, it's not my
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Edwin. Bye.
It's not Eva's birthday.
Like, how did he get away with this for so
She's an
long?
OTK now. Guys, Seer is a big time groomer.
Pardon?
Well,
Pardon? Wrong.
He was.
Very
He
wrong
was.
word.
I don't know if he is anymore. Like he like he fucked with a lot of girls. Like he took a lot of advantage of his fucking. It's fucking weird. Like I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Like he couldn't fucking sue me for saying that kind of shit. You know, like I've got plenty of girls in my. No, it's serious. Like, dude, when I
It was Edwin's
when we were
birthday?
friends, like, he was 25 and he was like dating a 17-year-old. It was fucking weird, you know. He was literally going to a fucking high school
25?
house and driving to her house and fucking her against the fucking bed frame. It was weird.
No, it's weird for you to say that. That's the weird part. That's so weird for you to say that. Like, if he's going to someone else's house, if he's going to the young girl's house and fucking her against the bed frame, like, how do you know? Were you listening to the salacious details? You're like, ooh, tell me more. He does that, though. He just accuses people of shit that he does or that he wants to do. He got away with it for so long because he always had people to hide behind, and the fans who belonged to the people he hid behind would also support him. True. Hey Wilderberg, no, we did watch some of the Chud interview. I just wanted to show what exactly this is. His blonde sucks. His hair is super yellow.
Anyways,
It's very
you guys,
distracting.
if you guys follow Seer on Twitch, you're following a fucking pedophile. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
Oh,
we're
wait,
Happy birthday, Edwin.
Since you
Bye.
just got back.
It's not Eva's birthday.
Okay.
She's an OTK now. Guys, Seer is a big time groomer.
Pardon?
Well,
Pardon? Wrong.
He was.
Very
He
wrong
was.
word.
I don't know if he is anymore. He fucked with a lot of girls. Like he took a lot of advantage of his fucking career. It's fucking weird. Like I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Like he couldn't fucking sue me for saying that kind of shit. You know, like I've got plenty of girls in my. No, serious. Like, dude, when we were friends, like, he was 25 and he was like dating a 17-year-old. It was fucking weird. You know, he was literally going to a fucking high school's house and driving to her house and fucking her against the fucking bed frame. It was weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, you guys, if you guys follow Seer on Twitch, you're following a fucking pedophile. I'm sorry. You're right, Nina?
Jesus. All right.
I mean, not a pedophile, just a hebephile, right? Let's be accurate here. Guys, hey, you know what? I know I'm not keeping this up on my channel, but hey, have him fucking try to sue me. You know he fucking can. Because guess what? He fucking sent me a fucking paycheck. He sent me a fucking paycheck after I did my videos on him. Yeah.
That means you. What a fucking. So that means you took money to shut up about a pedophile. You fucking absolute. Okay, recently. Okay, listen. Within the past few days, you know, where I live, there are seasons where suddenly there are ants everywhere, okay? So then we get ant traps. And this time, the ones that we got were very potent. And so there were all these ants, right? And I kind of feel bad that they were all poisoned. But like the next day, they were all gone. But I saw one wandering today, and I was wondering if it was poisoned and if I should put it out of its misery. That is the level of sentience that Edwin has. It's just like looking at a poisoned ant and is like, and being like, should I? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but the same Sarah that was friends with Onision?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Like, he is fucking weird. He, like, asked for girls' panties and shit. And
No. I understand. I was just like disconnected with like Sarah and Onision, and I was like, wait, you know, I think they were friends at some point. So I was like, I was trying.
Wasn't Edwin cool with Onision too at some point? Kill ants when you see them? Oh, okay. I see.
Connected, but no, that makes sense.
I'd actually argue that. I don't know. I feel like
they were
on like different kinds of weirdness, you know. Like
I mean, they were roommates. I guess he lived at Onision's place at some point.
Well, like okay, like Seer, like
I need to make
Seer had a
the
lot of
screenshot.
like, women. Like he always.
Okay. That was that. And now back to yeah, the Edwin and Chud interview. That's at 8 minutes 17
Say,
seconds.
okay.
Swim away from it.
Well, no, okay. Listen, I just asked you the question. You've gone fucking whole hog into it.
Am I digging? Am I digging a hole here?
Yes.
I mean, to me, I just think that's kind of crazy to say and like, have it sitting out there. And
It's
like,
crazy that people do that, but it's not as uncommon as you think. People like take advantage of their power positions all the time. It's fucked.
Sure, but like when you make it a claim.
Okay, I need to note the order in which these things make sense, okay? Because there's also... Okay, so they're talking about the original clip. When was the other one from? Okay, so it's that, and then Chud asks him about it, and then he stakes the reputation of his channel onto, like, you know, his video essay shit. His credentials as a professional defender of women's. And then that refers back to... Okay. Hold on.
I'm like involving other people, and it's like awkward. But obviously, it's a drunk comment that
that you're now making again sober.
Because people might also say, "Oh, why don't you say something back then?" Because it wasn't like I really processed it in the same way. Like, it seemed like it was just.
Oh, the possession of
maybe it was-
power. That's what it was. Position of power. Meanwhile, I had to fucking go on his stream and explain that. Like talking about his fans. You know what? There are just so many clips to go along with these claims, right? Because rarely does he ever make full claims. It's like too vague now. But these are hard claims. And it's just very ironic, the things that he's saying.
just because he had subscribers and he was just flexing kind of thing. But like also like close friends of mine also like he dated like a girl that was also 17. Like close friends of mine would corroborate. But like then I'm like involving other people, and it's like awkward. But obviously it's a drunk comment that
that you're now making again sober.
Well, you're asking me about it. What do you want me to say?
Well, I don't know.
He forgets that he's live.
I'm not gonna swim away from it.
Well, no, okay, listen. I just asked you the question. You've gone fucking whole hog into it.
Am I digging a hole here?
I mean, to me, I just think that's kind of crazy to say and like have it sitting out there.
It's
like,
crazy that people do that, but it's not as uncommon as you think. People like take advantage of their power positions all the time. It's fucked.
Sure, but like when you're making a claim about a big creator, like I would want to have the T's crossed and the I's dotted so I could go, right, here's the proof of it. But then I guess the problem would be, I mean, what
He was like, I got a paycheck, bitch. Remember? And it's like, okay, so he paid you off to not tell people he was a groomer. That makes you very bad, right? right? What, Eva? Is there something? He wasn't right. No, he wasn't. But he's lying. He's lying, right? The money had to do with a rent issue he had and went to court with Sear. Oh, I see. He just doesn't even... God, he's so he's so fucking delusional in his own world. You are not cool enough. You are not interesting enough. You are not attractive enough. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna be honest. Opening your conversation with Chud, being like, I know I'm 33, but I know I look like really young. Dude, you've been on autopilot, I guess, for a while. I don't think you've used your brain muscles for a minute.
Okay, what do you think should happen with Sia on the basis of this?
I don't know, because I mean, I can acknowledge that I wasn't doing it responsibly when I was saying it. Obviously, I was like, wasted, and it's kind of, I don't know, and
You
like,
are
every
also
now and
not
then I've had
doing it responsibly right now.
people try to like whatever, like try to like troll me about it, but not so common anymore. But and it's funny because he had a big YouTube channel and we used to make videos together and all that stuff. And when I like exposed our personal drama and stuff on my YouTube channels, like he just went to Twitch, and he's very charismatic. He's very social climbing. He's very good at like growing and just fucking like, damn, like he did it on Twitch. Good for him. But like I didn't have any intention. Like that was a stupid clip. Like I wasn't trying to do anything.
Why are you
So to
bringing
ask
up
like
clout?
what should happen to him, I don't know. I mean, like even
Oh, when Edwin drops his video, ugh, it's gonna be so informative, right? If he makes a video, he has to make claims about something. And the evidence is there, so it's all over the place. Dude, come on.
when I exposed him for my personal drama, like he wasn't even the worst character in my story. Like was his fucking psycho ex-girlfriend.
Okay, well,
It's a different
I'm sure.
situation. I mean,
I'm sure no one's going to clip that, so don't worry about it. I'm sure. I just think.
yeah,
Look,
nobody will clip this.
I've got.
He's
a
so
thing
stupid.
Where, because I mean, it depends on the laws and stuff, but like that's potentially an allegation of statutory rape that you're making. If you realize it or not, I don't know. But if you're saying
what am I?
If someone is engaging in sexual conduct with someone who's 16, right? Potentially, dependent on the laws of the given places and how that works, that could be some sort of statutory rape, or that could be some sort of like, crime that's been committed. Like you're saying you're potentially saying someone committed a crime, which is very serious, and then you're like, well, I can send you the ID if you want. That to me just seems insane. But you're just saying it so calmly, like what the fuck's going on?
Well, I mean, I don't know what's expected, right? Like what people in their 20s have sex with 17-year-olds all the time. What, like the people don't go to jail for that. Like if it's consensual, like it was consensual, like like I don't know.
Okay. So even
Need
if
a
there was a
PR
situation where like it was all legal, say like this is a 17-year-old. I mean, you said 16, but like,
Well, okay. There's different situations to be clear.
Okay,
like
what are
one had a
please explain the
relationship-
situations. Go.
Because I think in the clip I said that he had a relationship with a 17-year-old, and I'm saying that
He's like, he forgets what he's trying to express all the time. He's like, oh, it's nothing you could go to jail for, right? And then he goes on to accuse Seer of human trafficking.
Like certain people that he Snapchatted with, like there was one that was 16 that I know of. So
And what did they
that's a different
Snapchat
situation.
in your
Yeah, Snapchat.
understanding? No, what
Yes.
specifically did they say to each other?
Like he just asked for like sexual pictures of her in her bra and all this other stuff.
This is fucking insane. Just saying that he was sexting with someone that's 16. That is
It's fine.
mental.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but you're doing it and you
up,
got
man.
no
I'm
fucking
gonna have to hit her
evidence.
up.
You're just saying, like, I'm always a big on, like, you've got to have the evidence to back up your claims. And you're just saying it. I appreciate you saying you'll get me the fucking ID in that, but don't you think
He's
this
not
is
going
fucking
to.
insane that you're saying this?
And he was lying.
just
Yeah,
like,
he
what-
was
okay,
lying.
So what
He wasn't
what is
going
the
to
alternative
ever.
If I drunkenly said
He would never. There's no world in which Edwin would ever provide that evidence, even if it were true.
something that is true, should I just lie and say, well, what I said, even though I can't prove 100%?
Me
actually
too, guy, by
wasn't-
the way.
I lied when I was drunk. Like,
I mean, I've got an idea. Maybe if you, I mean, this is where
Call
it
him
gets
a
difficult,
pedophile.
except because it gets to the point where are you trying to do a Me Too thing? And if you're bringing out evidence and stuff, that gets towards the Me Too stuff. So it's like you've almost inadvertently, pretty much done a Me Too already without the stuff to back it up. So
I mean,
I would say just leave it and say, oh, say
yeah,
nothing.
I did leave it. You're reviving it.
Wait, yeah, but I'm reviving it because I want to know what happened, and you're just saying all this shit, and like, well, I didn't know you were gonna say that, so I'm like, oh fucking shit, I don't know what to do. Anyway, listen,
You don't know what to do.
no, we're live right
so,
now, we're fucked. LSF, hello. Like, I don't know, that's what I think's gonna happen, but who knows?
Well, this is too long for them to clip, right? This is way too long. They can't read.
They're probably gonna get the clip of you saying he was fucking sexting 16-year-olds. I don't know, man.
Edwin
You're
is
fucking insane. I
unironically
like that energy, but fuck, my chat
a
is loving this. They're saying you a
fucking-
giga chat.
Oh my god. See? This is why I thought he was not like, if you don't know that he's just straight up lying, like you would think that, like, okay, a liar couldn't possibly be so bad at it. You're like, you assume that someone's like not malicious and just like stupid and naive, but not lying like about this. He staked the reputation of his Me Too channel on it, on his words. Here. Fuck. What was I just gonna do? Edwin doesn't understand the internet at all. RIP. Don't be a liar if you're not smart. I mean, don't be a liar in general, but definitely don't. Edwin tells the truth, though. Fair. What was I gonna show? I completely forgot. Fuck.
For this, and I'm just like, okay.
Like, okay, have you never known anybody that's done something sketch and you're just like, well, I can't say that out loud? Like I
on the internet you can't because of what happens on the internet these days. No, do you not think?
Yeah, what happens on the internet? Like what? If look, I'm like, I acknowledge
Edwin is so fucking stupid. He doesn't know that you can clip something. What was I even gonna show? I completely forgot. God damn it. Meh.
that I stupidly said something drunk, like we said in the beginning. Like, well, I mean, obviously Keemster's dummy and saying to me in the
No,
face,
you
right?
said it's
But, like,
sober.
No. Oh, right now, yes. Right now I'm saying it's sober because I'm not gonna back down from my drunk comment just because my drunk comment was based in reality. Yeah. But now I'm like, damn it, I had to fucking hit up these women that like, because it's at the end of the day, it's like, it's not for me to say. It's not
Edwin?
like that's
But
the
you
inappropriate
said it.
part.
Oh my god! But you said it, mate. Oh.
Yeah, he's trying to. Yes, he does. He's trying to like get reassured that is fine. But you are talking to Chud Logic right now, dude. There is no going back, and you have to know that. That's just the truth. People thought that I was upset. About the videos. But like anything that I say, like if you say something on Chud's stream, you can't like expect it to not be content. That's just what it is. So you should know. You give up. It's like, you should know. And if you don't, well, I guess you'll find out. No, nothing happened from this because I'm sure Edwin never followed up. And of course, Chud is doing other stuff. It's not gonna like chase Edwin down because he's also probably assuming that there's merit to something that Edwin's saying. But, receipts. This is very, very weird.
It would be like if somebody spoke up for Evan Rachel Wood or something, right? Like I made a video connecting the dots for Evan Rachel Wood before she came out about Marilyn Manson. Like, but like at the end of the day, it's for her to say, So it's, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't want to pressure
It's for
anybody
her
to say anything. I don't want.
Okay, how? Does he have like a ghostwriter? He's gotta be like doing something. Because he makes direct contradictory statements.
Become fucking Mr. Girl here. Like, hey, Seer, this. Do you want to? Like, Seer was a shitter to me. Like, I don't. It's not my investment. I don't know how to say this.
I don't know what you're talking about with Mr. Girl. But you guys have a lot of in common, so.
Okay. I guess, okay, so do you think Lav was wrong in what she did with Asan?
Yes. Because, see, the difference there is she, well, I mean, I'm not sure, because the way that Hassan told it was that he checked with the woman and that, he implied that there's legal references and she didn't want it out, etc. And so, and then didn't Lav also respond, well, if she said she's 19, then I guess she's 19. It says like that was just stupid. So like she's not actually sticking to it, right? Am I right?
Oh God.
Okay, but the thing is, in terms of like evidence has been presented, you have both presented the same amount of evidence to back your claim up. That's what I think.
Yes.
The issue
true.
is from where I'm sitting.
Yeah. So if we're talking about the current space of the internet, right, where people want to sue for defamation, well, what happens in that? People need to get like they need to go under oath and all that stuff, get cross-examined, and pull up like people to witnesses and everything. So okay, well, he would never pull the witnesses. Like,
Listen, we're gonna have to do this tonight, okay? Because it's an hour long, and we're 15 minutes in. So, and I'll be streaming tonight at like 11 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if does anyone know if the Tim Pool thing is going to be live? Because I will stream this on Twitch and or maybe should I save it? I should save it for Sunday. I'll save it for Sunday, okay? It's too late. I'm already in it. But I was streaming on Twitch since like 10:30. So I need to go before my brain dies completely. Yeah, it's 5:30 a.m. now. See you later, Reaper. All right. There's the link in case you missed it. I'm going to make my Illuminati response react video from Twitch. I'm gonna make that public because I made the thumbnail. So follow my Twitch if you don't. Good, good. Like the stream if you haven't liked the stream. That would be very cool. I need to eat something. Wrong button.
See how they take advantage of a nice guy?
I'm so sorry.
We good?
Reconcile with your penis. Reconcile with your penis. Reconcile with your penis. Reconcile with your penis.
I want a fat
reconcile
ass.
with your penis. Reconcile
want
with
a
your
big
penis.
bouncy
Reconcile with your
ass, bro.
penis. Reconcile with your penis. Reconcile with your penis. Reconcile.
It was good to see you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully we can watch the Tim Pool Lance thing. The surf's going on Tim Pool. Rip. But anyway, okay. All right. I would like you to know. See you later, Gray. Good night, everyone. Also, I fucked your mom, and it was so good she doesn't love you anymore because the hole in her heart is now full of my dick. Good night. Or morning.